Hit with a ballet. I'ma take your old lady. Why? Want your old lady? I don't need no baby, but I might take your lady. The soldier, he too wavy. King have my baby. Y'all too saucy, living like the bosses be. I don't care if it's Monday, I'm praying she don't pose me. I don't need no baby, but I might take your lady. The soldier, he too wavy. King have my baby. Y'all too saucy, living like the bosses be. I don't care if it's Monday. Baby hit to get some sneaks. She's a trick, I'm a treat. I don't need no baby, but I might take your lady. The soldier, he too wavy. King have my baby. Y'all too saucy, living like the bosses be. I don't care if it's Monday, I'm praying she don't pose me. I don't need no baby, but I might take your lady. The soldier, he too wavy. King have my baby. Y'all too saucy, living like the bosses be. I don't care if it's Monday, I'm praying she don't pose me. I'm praying that the troll meet me, cause I got a billboard dizzy. All you niggas looking needy, and my trap line steady blingin'. Need respect, that's what I'm fiendin'. Disrespect gon' have you bleedin'. When I bust it, ain't no screaming. Shorty tryna steal my semen. Even Steven, gotta get even, but I got the book of Eden. It's a movie when I'm steppin'. 100 bands is what they screamin'. When we come, nigga leaving. Sick as time, my niggas grieving. Hot pocket, it's they heated. Out of pocket, gotta beat it. I don't wanna be misleading. Baby girl, I'm tryna beat it. Pull up and I went to cheese it. Cause all year I been achieving. Last year I high creeping. Engine in the Mozzie eating. Hit it, then I bob and weave it. Hit it, then I go to fleeing. I don't need no baby, but I might take your lady. The soldier, he too wavy. King have my baby. Y'all too saucy, living like the bosses be. I don't care if it's Monday, I'm praying she don't pose me. I don't need no baby, but I might take your lady. The soldier, he too wavy. King have my baby. Y'all too saucy, living like the bosses be. I don't care if it's Monday, I'm praying she don't pose me.
East Side and What's going on? Shout outs to everybody here. Uh, okay, yeah, you guys should be able to hear me. It's Player Talk Radio. Shout outs to everybody here. My bad, y'all. I am still sick. Please hit the like button on the way in. What's going on? Shout outs to UFO Kamikaze in the building. What's going on, players? Shout outs to Toya. I was just thinking about you last couple of shows. I wonder where you been at. Hopefully everything is good. You know, please let Mom Dukes know I said Happy Mother's Day. You know, my bad, y'all. I spent my voice is gone, y'all. I spent all morning on the phone with Mom Dukes too. You know, that's all. You know, that's all they want. A little bit of time. You know, that trumps everything, y'all. It's Player Talk Radio. Shout outs to everybody here. There's a lot going on my side of town, y'all. Shout outs to my brother Bronze, Flat Power God. What's going on, Ty City? Shout outs to Ty City in the building. UFO said trying to recreate the '70s sound doesn't isn't quite the same in the digital era. Bruno Mars tries, but it always sounds too clean. That's the problem. You gotta dirty it up. Um, and it's funny because I'm using my tape machine now more. I'm using Chat GPT to learn how to because I'm sick, y'all. I'm sick and in bed right now, but I'm using Chat GPT to learn how to play my OP1 better. So I got it to generate. This is awesome. I'm learning how to play the piano. I got it to generate little practices that I can do, and so I'm just kind of getting my hands ready. Like my fingers used to like the type of keystrokes and stuff, and then I'm gonna have it really, I know how to sample, but I'm gonna have it like just make go through some sampling drills. So, it's pretty interesting. Um, hold on, y'all. Reason why I brought that up is because you got to make the music for the most part, depending on what sounds you're using, is gonna be clean, and then you gotta dirty it up. You know what I'm saying? Now, um, the problem with Bruno Mars, I know exactly what goes on in those Bruno Mars sessions. He actually gets the older, he actually gets the older groups and bands to come in because lo and behold, they're touring and they still have their old instruments. So a lot of their instruments, their MPCs, their SM7B-As, their mics, and all that other stuff, they're broken in. You know what I'm saying? Good gear gets better with time. This is why I told you guys to, buy certain mics and stuff like that because they get better with time when you speak into it. You gotta break it in. What's going on, Stoic? Good to see you. Say you practicing your keystrokes too. Yeah, I need it. I don't know. I don't know why I feel comfortable playing on the OP1 more than my MPC controller. But I start to get better with both. But Bruno actually gets the bands to come out and play their music and stuff like that. But um, what happens is the engineers, they don't know how to mix that shit. You know? He better off keeping the sound raw. The engineers don't know how to mix that shit. They clean it up. And it's like, no, don't clean it up. You know? And then they use a lot of plugins and stuff like that. Those plugins sometimes run into each other. What a lot of people are not telling them neither too is that you gotta use old school headphones too. You know? Oh, you said not your keystrokes. You said you're practicing your strokes too. Okay, my bad, bro. I'm a little wonky from this medicine I took. My bad, broski. But good to see everybody here. Good to see you here, Stoic. Good to see everybody here. Hopefully, nicer if you're in the clouds. Please show up. I need to hold on, y'all. Let me see. Okay, I didn't know. Wow, somebody sent me some information about the Grand National. I'm gonna take a look at that off air. All right, what's going on? And one play five. Good to see you. Shout outs to everybody here, by the way, too, man. Give me 1 second. Shout outs to everybody here. All right, y'all, please hit the like button on the way in. Double tap the screen. Support the show. It's Player Talk Radio. We are here. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Let's get into it. It's Player Talk. Give me 1 second. Don't want some spitting music right quick. All right. So it's a lot of stuff going on in the world today, man. Brothers out here getting killed. What's going on, new? Shout outs to you. Shout outs to everybody in the building, man. Y'all hit the like button, show some love. So, so much stuff going on in the world today. I was telling you guys that a couple of brothers got gunned down in Chicago, but now it seems like another young brother got gunned down in Philly, and he's one of those brothers that actually I think he was on a couple of political campaigns and stuff like that. Obviously he kind of had the meat mill flow, but what he was rapping about was was pretty positive. But oftentimes, sometimes when you got brothers like that do a lot of positive music, they're not the best examples, off air, or when they in the streets and stuff like that. And sometimes it's not that they don't want to be positive. Sometimes it may be their environment. I forgot the young brother's name, but he is no longer here also, And I saw another story about an older player. He crashed out on a couple of youngins that that was on a bus. Just a lot of crazy shit going on. Also too, they the shooting that I told you guys about in Chicago with Munna Duke and O Block Youngin and stuff like that. They released where not where Munna Duke was hit, but there was another guy that was with them that ended up surviving the shooting, and they released where he was hit. So he got peppered up too. Yeah, I was gonna get to that too. And one play five, you beat me to it, yes. And rest in peace to the wrestler Sabu. You know what I'm saying? I saw Rob Van Dam posted something. Taz. Remember we were just talking about Taz on the last show? Taz posted something about that too, So yeah, man. Y'all hit the like button. Please support the show. I'm waiting till I get a little bit better. We're gonna definitely do some wrestling content because I was watching a bunch of different shows not too long ago, and it's a lot that I wanted to cover. I downloaded this crazy ass match. I don't know if it happened last night, but with Mercedes Moore versus this other girl for some title, and I'm not gonna lie, she's a good ass wrestler, man. This girl was a little bit more heavy set, but how she was landing these moves and stuff like that. Shorty made her look like, that's another sign of a good wrestler. When I do that show, I want to break that down to you guys because I'm gonna do a show about kayfabe. And I wanted to break down to you guys that sometimes a good wrestler is not only the person that sells the move, but the person that's delivering the move. You know what I'm saying? Or the moves and stuff like that. So, I want to kind of get into that because these girls nowadays, they are fucking wrestlers. They are wrestling, man. They are fucking wrestling. I forgot the guy that they that they got training them, but I'll do all of that research soon. I forgot the guy that they got training him, but and they were like, "Oh, he's too hard on them." It's like, no, he's good, you know. But like I said, I'm gonna talk about the kayfabe and stuff like that, cause wrestling nowadays is taking on like an anime kind of, I guess to keep the millennial viewer, you know what I'm saying, hooked. You know, it's taking on like an anime kind of, style. You know, at least in the women's division and stuff like that. I don't really watch the male division like I used to and stuff, but I don't know. It's more of a dance, you know. And then I get it, you got to protect the athletes and all kinds of different stuff, but hey, it is what it is. So, so many different things going on. Like I said, in the world today, they said that China and and Trump and them, they done came to an agreement with the tariffs. You know, there's always some weird agreement or some type of weird, uh, deal on the table when it comes to those two. You know, so some news ain't worth delivering, but maybe what we're gonna watch today is worth delivering. You know what I'm saying? Maybe something might change. You know. So like I said, giving y'all the inside scoop on things. You know that you guys can go tell your family and friends after y'all hit the like button and support the show. Yeah, I heard Bitcoin is pumping. You know, LT man called it. You know, there's a lot of times that we sat around and we were like, he was like, man, he said he got some money in it. He was like, he don't know if he wants to take it out though, because he said it might go up. And he was like, but he's like, he don't know if it's gonna go up this year or next year. And we kind of had a laugh about it, and I told him to just hold it in there, bro. It's gonna go up this year. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of shit going on. You know, Trump, and this is due to Elon, because I got a friend here, and he was telling me about it. Yeah, Bitcoin is at 103 now, man. Um, I think he said the first 40 people are there, but Trump is importing niggas from South Africa. Dudes from South Africa are coming straight up into the states, and not the black ones too. You know, like a lot of black people don't really travel and shit like that. Elon done opened up a couple of doors to a lot of people's thinking when it comes to how Africa is set up. But you got a lot of white South Africans, coming into the states. That's pretty interesting, But like I said, you could thank Elon, for opening up that door. You know what I'm saying? So, that should be pretty interesting. But a couple of them, I guess he said the first 40 reached the states already. So I got a friend here who they're gonna pay for his citizenship and all kinds of stuff there. I'm like, damn, that's interesting. Cause I was telling him that he was telling me that he wanted to make a move towards the states and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, okay. And he was like, I was going to go to, where he said he was going to go first. He was going to go to Canada first. They were going to have him in Canada, and then eventually he'll make his way stateside. I said, oh, wow, okay. He ended up staying, and I told him, hey, man, you might want to make it to Canada soon, because I don't know what Trump's finna do. And he was like, actually, I'm going straight to America. And I was like, oh, shit. And it didn't hit me because I forgot he was South African. I totally forgot he was South African. But I was talking to, like I said, I was talking to, my mother all morning. And she was telling me that, yeah, he opening up the the doors to South Africans. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh, that got to be an Elon play. Because I remember him telling me that he was going to go to America, but I totally forgot. It's under the South African nation, so or under the South African passport. So I was like, oh, shit. It clicked. So that's interesting, That's very interesting, But shout outs to everybody here. Y'all hit the like button. Let's get into it. It's Player Talk Radio. Good to see everybody here, man. Hopefully you guys are in good spirits. My bad, my throat is killing me. I am sick as a dog. But we gonna get through it. It's Player Talk Radio. Let's go. Give me 1 second. Oh man, yeah. Pause. Yeah. That guy. Yeah. Man, you can't say shit nowadays as a straight heterosexual man. Everything is pause worthy now, so it is what it is. All right, let's get into it, y'all. It's Player Talk.
Agreed to slash tariffs for 90 days in a major trade breakthrough. Both sides have agreed to bring reciprocal tariffs down to 10%. This deal coming after U.S. and China trade representatives held very high-stakes talks in Switzerland over the weekend. Here's Trade Representative Jameson Greer explaining the deal.
We come to agreement that our reciprocal tariff rate will go down to 10% on the United States side, so it goes down 115%. We enter into a 90-day pause period for negotiations, which both the Chinese and the United States are very committed to, and the Chinese on their side also go down 115% to 10%, and they remove the countermeasures that they have in place. To be very clear, other measures that the United States has put in place in the past, whether it's tariff measures from 2018 or since, tariffs under other statutory authorities, tariff related to fentanyl, those remain unchanged for now to the side. I'll just make one point, is that both the Chinese and the United States agreed to work constructively together on fentanyl, and there's a positive path forward there as well.
And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on what is expected next. Watch this.
Whether it's medicines, whether it's semiconductors, steel, the other, we've identified 5 or 6 strategic industries and supply chain vulnerabilities, and we will continue moving toward U.S. independence or reliable supplies from allies on those. But the consensus from both delegations this weekend is neither side wants a decoupling. And what had occurred with these very high tariffs, as Ambassador Greer said, was the equivalent of an embargo, and neither side wants that. We do want trade. We want more balanced trade, and I think that both sides are committed to achieving that. We would like to see China open to more U.S. goods. We expect that as the negotiations proceed, that there will also be a possibility of purchase agreements to pull what is our largest bilateral trade deficit into balance that has gotten out of balance.
The White House releasing a joint statement with the CCP that reads in part, the government of the United States of America, the government of the People's Republic of China recognize the importance of a sustainable, long-term, and mutually beneficial economic and trade relationship. After taking the aforementioned actions, the parties will establish a mechanism to continue discussions about economic and trade relations. The tariff revisions.
See, he's trying to use that art of the deal. You know what I'm saying? That's the art of the deal. In a weird way, too, Asia has bartering culture. So you never know. You might get a better deal than you think, But most people, like I said, stateside, they're not worried about that type of shit. They aren't. They're not worried about no damn deal. Bartering and negotiation, you gotta triple tell, people stateside to kind of, put that first. You dig? What's going on? What's going on, D Nation? He said, "Nah, I speak grown man language. If you're a pause guy, then that means your mind's in the gay gut." No, man, I'm telling you. Look, shit be sounding crazy. Shit be sounding crazy. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be on point. New like I ain't playing that game. Salute. Salute everybody here. Y'all hit the like button, support the show. We in the building, man. It's Player Talk Radio. My bad, y'all. Your host is still sick. But let's get back into it. It's Player Talk.
This will be imposed by May 14th. Michael, markets are taking off. Futures jumped last night just on Bessent saying that it was a positive weekend.
Yeah, look, this is extraordinarily positive. You always knew that something was going to come about and that China had to give in substantially because every dollar of trade to the United States is 5 times more impactful from China than it is to the U.S. And so we do not sell a tremendous amount of goods over there, but for them to sell into us is extraordinarily significant because you have finished manufactured high value goods coming from China into this country, which can be, for every job created from that, could be up to 8 jobs over there. So it is substantial how much they came down with these tariffs at this point and how much they got done this weekend is a massive surprise. And from an equity market investor standpoint.
Now I got to stop him right there. Because that's a lie. Now, China does make a lot of good stuff. But high value goods? Nah, let me stop you right there. China is not necessarily high value goods. That's another reason why a lot of people not super mad at Trump about some of this stuff, because some of those goods are not high value. China got a lot of stuff that they sell for a lot of fucking money that's just straight up bullshit. And they laugh about it, to us. Because we'll buy it. They definitely will pull a fast one. But sometimes they have it at a price that, okay, well, look, if it goes out, just go buy another one. So let's get it.
If we get closes above the 200-day moving average of both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, watch out because the hedge fund community is totally and completely underinvested at the moment.
Yeah. Well, Liz, this was the deal. Yep. I mean, of all of the trade relationships around the world, these are the world's 2 largest.
Hold on. Get rid of some of these tabs. God damn. Hold on, y'all. Y'all hit the like button, support the show. You said if they could hold out temporarily, you said demand dictates supply. China lives by supplying. They can only hold out temporarily. Yeah. I mean, it's a save face, like I said, and it's a poker face thing too. You said once you start using their language, yeah. What's going on, D Chicago? Yeah, I mean, you gotta get these deals in, That's where the magic happens, apparently. That's good.
Economies. And I had said this repeatedly, and has Maria, that it really is, this all comes down to China.
Yeah,
and here we are.
This is what the world was waiting for. Mm-hmm. I would describe this as strategic recoupling. That is to say, yes, we're going to do a lot of business with China, but by the way, there are areas where we need to be self-sufficient. I would say pharmaceuticals is one of those, many others indeed. I love the fact that they took away the rare earth embargo. That's incredibly important for some industries in the United States. I think altogether, this was a win-win. Obviously, there's going to be backing and forthing over the next 90 days as this is hashed out in detail. By the way, we're not at 10%. We're at 30% tariffs with China because they continued the 20% fentanyl, whatever you want to call it, penalty on Chinese goods. So they didn't give up everything, the United States. But I feel sort of like, honestly, two very sound economic minds on the Chinese side and the American side got in the room and said, okay, how are we going to fix this? And they did.
The 20% on Chinese goods related to the fentanyl issue, again, will remain in place because President Trump has made it very clear that he wants the fentanyl trade and the proliferation of fentanyl that's coming to the United States and killing Americans. He wants that to stop. Yeah. That also is going to require cooperation from Mexico, another target of the Trump administration. Well, Maria actually spoke with. I wanted to play this for everybody because.
Y'all going crazy in the chat. Y'all hit the like button. Shouts to everybody. I'm trying to get the Rumble to work. I don't know why the Rumble didn't fire up. Shouts to everybody over on Kick. All right, let's go. Give me 1 second, y'all. What's going on, 1000? Yeah, Opium Wars 2.0. I was just about to talk about that, man. They're playing the game with this. They're playing the game with this damn fentanyl thing, you know, because they try to make it seem like it comes from China, and it's like, no, you got fentanyl being manufactured on U.S. soil, you know. So I don't know why the Rumble ain't fired up. All right, let's get it. Give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta figure out some stuff in the background. Please hit the like. Please hit the like button. Support the stream. Let's get it.
Maria actually spoke with National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassick on Sunday Morning Futures on the trade deal with the UK and many others. But listen to what he says about what's coming next.
Howard Lutnick has briefed me on about 24 deals that he and Jameson have been working on, and they all look a little bit like the UK deal, but each one is bespoke. Each one's a little bit different because different countries have different things that they've been doing wrong to us, different things they care a lot about. And so, for example, there was the UK auto issue where there ended up being a quota, and that was something they really cared a lot about. And by yielding on that, we got a whole lot for American farmers. We opened up the UK for the first time ever for beef farmers, which they really, really love. And so, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different, but the basic idea is everybody wants to have a deal and everybody wants to make a deal soon. And so you're right, you're going to see a lot more deals in the weeks to come. I mean, there are a whole bunch of things that are very, very close to the finish line. In the end, the president has to decide he likes the deal or not. There was a great story where I thought the deal was fantastic, and then the president's like, I can make the deal better, and he got an extra $1 billion in agreement of the UK buying our stuff on the phone by calling Starmer. So my guess is that the president's going to make the last phone call for each one because he is the best deal maker in the world. And
just picking up the phone, Liz.
I know, it's a good phone call, right? I wish I could do that. Yeah. I was just going to mention earlier, sorry to interrupt you, the de minimis issue, I don't know whether that's been resolved or not. And that, I think, has a lot to do with fentanyl imports. When you're able to bring in small packages worth less than, I think the number is $800. Trump basically said that was the end of that, really killed Temu, Shine, some of these other companies. But also, my guess is it had a big impact on fentanyl. Whether that stands or not, we don't really know.
Well, unfortunately, that is a big issue for a lot of small businesses here in the United States and American consumers that have gotten used to buying everything on Shein and Temu and gotten great deals from Alibaba. So, you know. Yeah,
look, I think this is welcome news to just about everybody. I did not see this substantive deal coming with China this quickly, but you knew it was an inevitability. You know it's an inevitability with all these other nations, again, because of the underlying math. All these countries sell so much more into the U.S., and the dollar amounts are so much more significant to our trading partners than they are to us when we sell over there. So we are going to end up in a much better situation. It's unfortunate that we had to live through this market volatility. But look, you can't bake a cake without breaking some eggs.
All right. Well, certainly the markets are celebrating right now what they got.
Now look at these fake ass people. Look at these fake ass people, man. Like, how fake can you get? First, they didn't like Trump. Oh, we don't agree with these tariffs. Oh my God, he's destroying the economy. Blah, blah, blah. Now, we're going to end up in a much better situation. Thank the Lord. Isn't that interesting? Overnight, y'all. All right. Get back into it.
Last night and this morning, Dow up 898 points in the futures.
Well, President Trump standing firm on trade deals, saying he runs the shop.
I could announce 50 to 100 deals right now because, I'm the shop.
UFO says the media is full of shit. They downplayed China's pain from the tariffs as long as they could. These people are disgusting. Man, look, I've been telling y'all for years, but you already know, UFO. They pass around the same script. They just change it up a little bit. And they probably chat GPT and changed it up a little bit. Just spin it a little bit different. So, hey.
Keeper, and I keep the store. And, I know what countries are looking for, and I know what we're looking for, and I can just set those terms. Everybody wants to shop here.
And now China is under pressure and coming to the negotiating table. Scott Besson and U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer are set to meet with their Chinese counterparts in Switzerland this weekend for trade talks. But the Treasury Secretary says he expects they will focus on a de-escalation of tensions rather than a big breakthrough deal.
What we're going to do in Switzerland is we've agreed to talk. Then on Saturday and Sunday, we will agree what we're going to talk about. My sense is that this will be about de-escalation, not about the big trade deal. But we've got to de-escalate before we can move forward.
All right, Larry. So here we are in Switzerland talking about having talks to get a deal. What are you looking for, and are you optimistic about what's happening in Switzerland?
Well, I don't want to be optimistic, but I would say it's a good thing. I mean, actually, some reports since those clips, I don't know, where was the statement he made?
That was the Ingram angle.
Huh?
That was last night.
Last night on Laura?
Besson was on with Laura, yep.
Because there's some statement he made that they are going to begin to negotiate Saturday. For those who want to move ahead with China, Peter Navarro will not be on the trip.
I said that before. No Lutnick either.
No Lutnick.
If they're too brash, it's not going to work.
Now, my experience is Trump only sends Navarro when he wants to scare the hell out of him. But if he keeps him home, that means they're actually going to have a conversation. So this is very good. Jamieson Greer is very good, and Besson's very good. I don't mean to make it personal with my friend Peter Navarro. But look, this is good. I'm not a big fan of China trade, as you probably know, having been through it in the first term. We made a deal, phase one. They broke every part of phase one. So I would say to you, they'll stop raising tariffs against each other, all right? There might even be, maybe not in Switzerland, but in due course, there may be some mutual reduction of tariffs. But I think President Trump will keep very high tariffs on during any discussion.
That's crazy too, though, because you know who y'all haven't heard from? Haven't heard from Russia. Russia hasn't kicked in. Well, I mean, you're really not supposed to hear from Russia. Really not supposed to hear from Russia because guess what? Obviously, they in their own shit. They at war too. America can do all of this and still try to mediate what's going on there. Interesting.
And that's what he did back in the first term. I know the levels are higher now, but I mean, 50, 60, 70% type tariff could easily be kept on. You know, look, you know, we talked about this on our show last night. Canada's not the enemy, China's the enemy. And we mustn't forget that. And I'm sure these negotiators won't forget that either. Whatever China says, you can almost...
I don't know if you could call that dirty macking, UFO. We gotta come up with a name for it. You know?
Bet they will break their word. And this is not only true on trade, this is also true on fentanyl, which has caused great anguish to this country and anybody involved in that.
But that's cap. Fentanyl, how we know it, how it's put out to us, the public, because it's abused, has caused, you know, the anguish. There's always like some new drug that's been around for a long time. One goes down, the other one goes up, or some form of it, or some new pure form of it. They use fentanyl in the medication that they give a lot of people. And the thing is that, like I said, we're living in times where people are the most medicated. Oh, your foot hurt? There's a pill for that. You acted up in school? There's a pill for that. Hell, if shit ain't going on, there's a pill for it. Placebo effect. Talked about it on the last show. Somebody taking on some type of pill. Good, bad, right, or wrong. Can't really say what I want to say, but hey.
I've said this anecdote before, I'll say it again. When we met at the G20 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, which was whenever it was, I think it was 2019, you know, we're all lined up, the U.S. on one side with the president, the Chinese on the other side with Xi, and the very first thing Donald Trump said to Xi was, can you stop the fentanyl trade, and would you invoke capital punishment for any Chinese involved in the fentanyl trade and the so-called precursors of fentanyl? And Xi right away said, yes, of course, capital punishment will stop the trade. So he's lying through his teeth, and unfortunately, that's what they do, all right? Of the whole group that I met years ago, there were one or two genuine reformers who would keep their word, but they'd always be surrounded by a bunch of Chinese communist thugs who were sent around like minders, okay, to make sure nothing's, you know, give away the family jewels, whatever that means. So look, it's good that they're going to talk. I like that. I think the market will like that. The market's up last time I looked.
It is
a good chunk today. I think this China stuff is more important than what Fed Chairman Powell is going to say or blather on. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, I reckon. I'm just saying it's a good thing, but it's not going to be a miracle. You're not going to get a deal, any such thing. Look, it took us 2.5 years to get a phase one deal, which they then broke. So don't expect any miracles here. There are other countries on the list that are much closer. Scott Bessent also said in front of Congress, I think, that we could get a deal in the next week or two. So that's very positive.
Dagan.
Larry, in the first hour, I read a letter that was sent to me, and it was by somebody who works in kind of wholesale sleepwear business. And he was just, it was sent to me, not a friend either, upset that he's seeing people he knows who have been in the business for decades struggling. He's worried about them going out of business because their suppliers are in China. These are suppliers that they worked years to set up, and they feel like the rug got pulled out from under them. These are Trump supporters. And I just want to know, because I'm also a believer.
Well, I'll say this. Hold on, y'all. I'll say this. I've seen, like I told you guys the other day, I've seen, I guess you could say Trump turn his back on Republicans. So in short, you know, I've seen Republicans, get not necessarily screwed over, but I've seen Republicans turn on Trump, and I've seen him earn Democrats also. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I'm not gonna say he's a Republican, but he's doing what he wants to do. He's doing what's in his best interest. Again, the monkey wrench in the damn White House. He's shaking shit up. So like I said, I've seen him lose Republicans, but I've seen him, because he's not a Republican then, right, in but so many words, right. So I've seen him lose Republicans, but gain Democrats. You know what I'm saying? That shit is crazy. It seems like the Republicans' honeymoon phase, some of them, their honeymoon phase is over again. Some of them are new Republicans too, because some of them didn't vote for him on the on the last go around, or wasn't too fond of him on the last go around. But I'm seeing him lose Republicans and gain Democrats. So that's pretty interesting. I want y'all to pay attention to that if y'all haven't noticed. Y'all hit the like button, support the show. It's Player Talk. We are here in the building. Good morning. News says, and Republicans are liberals anyway. Oof. Shout outs to Shaka Nulu in the building. If you guys can do me a huge favor and head over to Shaka Nulu's channel and subscribe. Definitely if you want to get shocked. You dig what I'm saying? With some straight to the point information, head over to Shaka Nulu's channel. Subscribe to my brother, man. UFO says, you know you in the wrong crowd when you're surrounded by people who would rather see themselves lose just to keep you from winning for the entire group. Borderline demonic shit. Yeah, I mean you shake the table. You turn over the domino table. Funny part is that at that point they don't even care about the win. They just don't want to see it. They don't want to see it. That's why you think they got rid of like certain winning dances and stuff in the NFL and the NBA and shit. Are you celebrating or rubbing it in? They can't tell the difference. They don't like to see it. Giving y'all some good game on a Monday, you dig? You said it's like they'd rather be right about losing than wrong about winning. Ooh. All right, man. You up early today, UFO. Some real shit right there. Mental chewing gum, y'all. Y'all got to process this convo. It's Player Talk.
Believer that China's the enemy and that really, truly trying to crush them and decouple.
China's not the enemy, honestly. I don't know why we keep running around with this notion. China's not necessarily the enemy. If so, then y'all been doing a lot of content on trying to make friends with the enemy. Let's go.
From them will ultimately be great for us. But how do you, and I'm not talking about bailouts, but how do you...
You can't get mad at another country for looking out for their best interests.
You care for American businesses here who still rely on supplies from China in the interim, and because we can talk about what's going on in Congress, but
No, they got to get. One thing I think could be set up is some form of trade credits, which has been tossed around. In other words, think of the Apple story, okay, where Tim Cook negotiated and all those iPhones made in China. Instead of wrecking his business, he was given a period of time. We don't really know all the details of that. He's moving into India. But I think you can give them some form of trade credits. So if you show your good intention to move from China, there's no reason why this stuff has to be done in China except cheap coolie labor and cheap slave labor, Uyghur labor, okay? So it's high time that these businesses get out of China, okay? That's my basic view of this whole story. Now, I know they can't do it this season, so maybe some exceptions can be made, some carve-outs where you might set up a system of credits, and you can stay in business now, but you're going to have to pay off a credit down the road, and that would be sort of like a tariff credit, if you will. We've done this in other areas. That's a possibility. The first time I heard this was on my show. My pal Steve Mnuchin was on, the former Treasury Secretary, and he talked about that. And I still think that's a viable thing. But the long and the short is, yes, there are going to be some costs, Dagan.
News says you can't just go lay up in other countries for some dumb reason. Americans want that. They complain that its citizens aren't being taken care of. I mean, people got to look out for their best interests. You know what I'm saying? And I agree. What's irking me more, though, is how they're portraying it to Americans, because they know how most Americans listening to it is going to take it. That's what's perplexing.
All right, there's no way around it. There will be some cost.
If they lie the way you say they do, and I believe you, I'm not questioning that, but if she can sit there and lie to your face, and so we're trying to negotiate with them, Besant will be there over the weekend, you think to yourself, why didn't the administration go about some sort of an approach like this? And instead of negotiating with China, negotiate with American businesses, because you'd be more successful if you did that. The market wouldn't have turned upside down. There would be timelines. People would understand what they're doing. They could plan better, to Dagan's point. Why did they do it this way if they're going to lie to their faces? And basically what I'm hearing from you is you can't trust anything they say anyway. Then what are we doing?
Well, look, as someone who supports the reciprocal trade idea, a level playing field. Okay, I support that very much. I would be willing to say that the rollout was not done to perfection. All right, I'll grant you if that's what you're getting at.
I'm kind of getting at that, but I'm just saying there was a different way to approach it.
There was a shock and awe to it that, look, you yourself said, remember a couple weeks ago, that actually with 75 or 80 countries coming to Trump, that the shock and awe actually succeeded.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of truth to that. They came here, and now the deal-making process is being engaged in, even with China. And Wall Street sees that, the stock market's rebounding, very nicely. And so I don't want to go too far. I felt that some of the charge-off formulas, remember the reciprocal charge-off.
Greek alphabet.
That was, really one of the worst things I've ever seen. That came from Navarro's shop. We have since learned. What was it? It was the trade deficit divided by imports.
The total import.
Which means virtually nothing. I don't know what that means. I don't know. You're a professor.
I didn't come up with it.
I was a teaching assistant about 70 years ago. But I'm just saying, I still don't know what that means. And I doubt if those charge-offs will ever be used.
Navarro,
so if that's what you mean, I agree that was not done
Navarro
very well.
said, well, the trade deficit captures all the cheating. And I was like,
what
no, it
doesn't.
doesn't.
Well, by the way, the thing happened with Canada, too. And the thing that President Trump keeps saying, we're giving them $200 billion a year, meaning that's a trade deficit. Again, with all due respect, and with someone who supports the reciprocity trade policy, I must say, however, when you look at the numbers, excluding oil, which we need, we're actually running a trade surplus with Canada.
Very interesting.
That's why I say Canada's not the enemy, China is, okay? And China is a very important enemy. So, you know, what can I say?
Taylor, round us out quickly.
You know, I've been talking a little bit about how we can't always trust the economic data coming out of China, but we do trust a little bit of what they're doing from the central bank's perspective.
All right, hold on. Let's get into this real quick. Donnie Boy's actually live at the White House. Give me 1 second. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. Please hit the like button. Support the show. UFO said if you ever work for a company where the company workers deliberately made shit difficult for everyone, including themselves, people will destroy everything just to make others as miserable as they are. Absolutely, that's the name of the game. Some of them can withstand the BS that they're trying to put others through. So it's like a kid. If it's too hot, get out the kitchen thing. They just want you out the kitchen.
Understand a very complicated system. With us, they need our trade just like China needed us very badly. They need us just as badly. We will do whatever we have to with trade, just like we did some great things with trade with India and Pakistan. It really helped the situation, very heated situation. Could have lost millions of people, more than millions. I mean, many millions of people. And they want to do business with America, but we never used our powers that way. We never knew how. We never had people that knew how to do that. We'll also open up America's market to safe and legal imports of affordable drugs from other countries, putting dramatic downward pressure on prices.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. It's gonna make us powerful with other countries too now, when it comes to the to trading. Cause think about it, y'all. We literally, to a certain degree, would have literally just made an example out of China. That's crazy. Big bad China to the world. You know, it's like I guess the story that how they're trying to paint it. It's like making an example out of the quote unquote bully. Who's the real bully?
And if necessary, we'll investigate the drug companies, and we'll in particular investigate the countries that are doing this, and we will add it onto the price that we charge them for doing business in America. In other words, we'll add it on to tariffs if they don't do what is right, which is everybody should equalize. Everybody should pay the same price. And special interests may not like this very much, but the American people will. I am doing this for the American people. I'm doing this against the most powerful lobby in the world, probably the drug lobby, drug and pharmaceutical lobby. But it's one of the most important orders, I think, that's ever been signed, certainly with regard to health care or health in the history of our country, and it's an honor to be a part of it. And I'd like to ask Robert F. Kennedy to say a few words, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an extraordinary day. This is an issue that, I grew up in the Democratic Party, and every major Democratic leader for 20 years has been making this promise to the American people. This was the fulcrum of Bernie Sanders' runs for presidency, that he was going to eliminate this discrepancy between Europe and the United States.
He needs some fentanyl.
But as it turns out, none of them were doing it. It's one of these promises that politicians make to their constituents, knowing that they'll never have to do it. And the reason they'll never have to do it is because they know that Congress is controlled in so many ways by the pharmaceutical industry. There's at least one pharmaceutical lobbyist for every congressman, every senator on Capitol Hill, and every member of the Supreme Court. By some estimates, 3. Pharmaceutical companies, the industry itself spends.
That's what I'm saying. His throat more fucked up than mine. Shit. Yeah, he needs the fentanyl. Shit.
3 times what the next largest lobbyist spends on lobbying. So this was an issue that people talked about, but nobody wanted to do anything because it was radioactive. They knew you couldn't get it by Congress. We now have a president who is a man of his word, who has the courage. President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million. But he can't be bought, unlike most of the politicians in this country.
Hold on.
And he is standing here for the American.
Hold on, Stoic. I gotta stop you right there. Super pause. Super pause. Coup de throat.
American people. I don't know what, there's writers like Lord Elizabeth Warren or Robert Reich who are saying that President Trump is on this side of the oligarchs. There has never been a president more willing to stand up to the oligarchs than President Donald Trump. And I'm very, very proud of you, Mr. President, for your courage, I'll say, because I don't want to be crude, your intestinal fortitude, your stiff spine, and your willingness to stand up for the American people. We have 4.2% of the world's population. Our country represents 75% of the revenues for pharmaceutical companies. We spend in our country $1,126 per capita on drugs.
What's going on,
in
Lord?
Britain, they spend about $240. They spend 1/5 of what we do. And this is true across Europe.
Tap the screen on
And
the way
this,
in.
and the drug companies, Europeans, if you ask them, it made no sense what they were saying. America has to pay for this innovation or it's not going to happen. What President Trump is saying to our European partners is you got to raise the amount that you're paying for those drugs and pay for your share of the innovation.
Yeah.
So that the United States.
He don't look like he sound like that. Like if he didn't open up his mouth, pause. God damn. I can't say shit. He don't look like he sound like that.
States is no longer subsidizing that. If the Europeans raise the price of their drugs by just 20%, that is $10 trillion. That can be spent on innovation, and the health of all people all across the globe is going to increase because we're going to have better products. So I'm just so grateful to be here today. I never thought that this would happen in my lifetime.
This nigga need a handful of Ricolas. I don't think a hall can fix this. The nigga need a Ricola.
I have a couple of kids who are Democrats, are big Bernie Sanders fans.
He sound like Bernie Sanders.
And when I told them that this was going to happen, they had tears in their eyes because they thought this is never going to happen in our lifetime. And we finally have a president who's willing to stand up for the American people.
Right, UFO.
Thank you. And Dr. Oz.
Thank you, Secretary Kennedy. This is the most powerful executive order on pharmacy pricing and healthcare ever in the history of our nation. And it's only happening because we have a president with the fortitude, the guts to stand up to the withering criticism and lobbying that's going to occur as soon as folks hear about the executive order. So on behalf of the child in Philadelphia who's got an autoimmune disease with a $1,000 a month drug, or the older woman in Los Angeles who's on a blood thinner who can't afford her copay, I want to thank President Trump. God bless you for having the guts to take on this industry. Thank you, sir. So let's talk about the details a little bit. And this is primarily...
That's the fucked up part about people. They'll call you all kinds of names and call you stupid, dumb, failure, all kinds of stupid shit. And then be on your nuts. They be on your nuts once some progress get made. Niggas is calling the man dumb. You don't know what he doing. And niggas are on nuts now.
About equalization, as President Trump said, it's about fairness. Think of NATO as a metaphor. When President Trump said, you've got to pay a little more so it makes sense for all of us, they came up. And the European countries...
Y'all hit the like button, support the show. Dropping gems and giving you the game as it goes. I want y'all to take that gem that I just dropped with y'all. You might be doing something in your personal life or in your life right now that people can't see or may call you crazy or dumb over. Okay. I'm here to tell you to keep it going. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to tell you to keep it going, because once you make it, I always believed in you. The main person that was calling you crazy, you know, the main person that was calling you wild, they're gonna be the one that they're gonna be the one to be flipping. Especially if you good and you know you can do what you trying to do and pull that shit off. You know, shout outs to Chris G in the place to be. We were talking about it on the last show. You know, I hate to use this as a motivation to go forward, but fuck it. Use whatever you need to do to go forward. You know, I was telling Chris G that, you know, I was looking at some goofballs, and not goofballs, but like, I was looking at some dudes, because I don't look at people like this. I really don't. But in this rare case, I will, right? I'm like, man, I'm studying, you know, in this field that I'm studying, right, y'all? And I'm looking at people that's in this field, and I'm like, I know, I listen, not to judge people. I don't compete with people. But I know I'm smarter than this dude. And I just take that and I say, look, if this person can do it, I know for a fact I can do it. You know what I'm saying? And I have to tell Chris G and everybody else listening that, hey, you know, if Keisha can do certain things, quote unquote, man, you can go ahead and go knock that shit out. You know, it only takes time. It's a learning curve. So I'm letting y'all know this morning, if there's something that you want to do, man, go for that shit. And then think about it. If you fail, word to Nipsey, if you fail, you were closer than you were when you started. You understand what I'm saying? So you might as well just keep going. Both is gonna hurt. Growing pains and possibly, quote unquote, failing, whatever that means. Man, there he goes. Shout outs to my brother Royce J in the building, dropping the huge. Thank you, bro. Good to see you. 5 on the Cash App. Royce said, more Dems flip MAGA than the other way around. Right, Royce. I was just saying, right? I was just saying how I'm not even moved by this shit, because honestly, I'm seeing Trump, like I said, Trump's in there doing his own thing. You know, I mean, he's not up there practicing loyalty to the Republicans. He doing what the hell he's doing. What's on his mind, what's in the best interest, and what he believes is in the best interest of the American people, right? Quote unquote. But it's like I'm seeing him, quote unquote, and they want people to feel bad about it. They really want people to feel sorry that they voted for Trump so bad. And some people do. I get it. And a lot of people that were for Trump didn't vote. Truth be told. But it's like, why do y'all want people to feel bad so bad? And it's not because it was like a regular election. It's because Kamala lost, y'all. I know the answer to it, right? But I'm seeing him lose Republicans and I'm seeing him gain Democrats. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing him gain more Democrats than him losing Republicans. I don't know. I see a lot of Democrats walking on eggshells. Vocal. usually, you know, the Democrats, once they get their politics in, they go sit down somewhere and just keep it going. They've been standing up the whole time. They're actually interested in what the hell he talking about, which is fucking weird. But they know he's doing more stuff than the Democrats would be. These are people that thought Joe Biden was a genius. Shout outs to Royce J. Let's get it. Shout outs to my brother Royce J in the building. Good to see you. Hold on. Let me throw something on. I got you, bro.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. These allegations are false.
Oh shit. Oh, I'm sick. Oh man. Shout outs to 1000 Sun. 1000 Sun said, I've been through it before. The imposter. Yeah, that imposter. I ain't gonna lie. That learning curve and that imposter syndrome is a motherfucker. But that's where experience comes in. And not necessarily experience, you know that. Wisdom. You know? 1000 Sun's really smart and wise brother. Always good to hear what you got to say on these topics, man. Shout out to Tech Rel in the building. You said, I've been through it before. The imposter syndrome or the inferiority complex that all black men have to battle with eventually. Yeah. Then you got to battle with actually knowing what the hell you talking about. Because once you know what you're talking about, people get even more mad. Man, why you know what he talking about and he actually kind of teaching me, but I didn't plan on learning from this person. I'm mad, you know. UFO says, I mentioned a few days ago about China's crumbling infrastructure due to the questionable construction practices. They're in no position for a long trade. Yeah. I mean, they making money. I mean, they got a lot of technology and stuff like that. You know, China, they're in a different world than America, but, you know, Trump on some, we the biggest country. We need the best deal with China. You know? So it's crazy how, the president is making them a example. At the same time, now people from the other countries, though, they got to really be on point when they're dealing with the states, and not even just that. China's perception to them might get a little, tethered, And Trump's not dumb. In these Asian countries and stuff like that, they're about saving face. They kind of put that shit over everything. So you disturb their world and make one of them look bad amongst each other, not just, to the world. That's a big deal, Stoic will tell you. They just want that shit to stop. They're like, all right. all right. But they dragging this out too, because you never know. I mean, people may have stuff up their sleeves, Let's get back into it. It's player talk.
Is contributed. The same thing we believe will happen in this situation. Most people who have thought about this process agree that it is patently unfair to tolerate the numbers that Secretary Kennedy and President Trump have reflected to you. On this chart to my left is a list of the 10 drugs that were negotiated in the IRA. Again, this is the bill, the law, that regulates a negotiation process. This is the best price that was able to be obtained by the Biden administration. And if you look at these numbers, they actually reflect how much on top of the most favored nation price was being paid by the United States. So the closest to me, and Bob, you can point to the chart against the closest one, 289%, the one that's closest to you. That means that we are paying in America 4 times more than that drug costs in other countries. Again, 100% is the baseline. It's 289% above that baseline. It goes all the way down to when we're paying 50% more than any other country. That's the range. As was pointed out by President Trump, half the time we're paying 3 times more than is paid in other countries. It doesn't make any sense for the system. That stated, President Trump has over and over again indicated, and Secretary Kennedy reflected as well, we want innovation. We want our technology partners doing the best they can to make the best solutions for drugs that cure as many people in America and around the world as possible. By getting our allies to pay a bit more, as they should be, and they should have for many years been doing, will course correct a problem that's gotten out of hand. And by doing that in a...
Now, this is super cap. The same way that they're doing with these bags, and the same way that they're doing, most people don't give a damn. They just want their drugs. They want to pay a lot of money for it. Most people don't give a damn. Crazy as that sounds, right? Most Americans will overpay for something and know they're overpaying. Don't nobody want to keep flying to China to go get some shit. Now, I want y'all to put y'all thinking caps on. Hit the like button, support the show. About to ask y'all the real question. Who would know that they're paying way more for the drugs? Obviously, the pharmaceutical companies. Who's been screwing over Americans for the longest time and making a profit off of it? The pharmaceutical companies. So it don't matter how much America gets it for. You still got to go through these shaky ass pharmaceutical companies. And they're like the record companies, so you can only get it from certain places. So let's leave out how the pharmaceutical companies out of these conversations are profiting from it.
Thoughtful, effective way, we're going to be able to get the pharmaceutical industry whole. Those jobs will still be here, will still be productive, will still be curing cancer and a slew of other ailments that plague humanity. America will still be the leader in this space, but we'll be paying the appropriate amount, the right-sized amount for those tasks. So over the next 30 days, the 4 of us up here, together with people standing in the back of this room who are doing a lot of the heavy lifting, are going to be approaching pharmaceutical companies to talk specifically about what we want the most favored nation price to be based on the best data we have. We're looking forward to a thoughtful interaction with these corporate leaders, many of whom we've spoken to and in quiet will agree the system is not right the way it is. They're patriotic Americans. They want what's right. But the fact that in my lifetime, as Secretary Kennedy said, for the first time, we have a thoughtful and aggressive approach thanks to President Trump, on taking on the special interests, should give all Americans confidence that this is an administration that stands for fairness and should chill the waters for those who believe they can push us away from our North Star, which is to take care of the American people. Mr. President, God bless you. Jay, you want to go next?
Sure. God bless them.
So I teach economics at Stanford as well as health policy. And one thing that's really, really simple in economics is that when you have a persistent price difference for the same product between 2 countries, there is something deeply wrong. And what President Trump has done is a historic measure that should have been done a long time ago. What we're going to do is make sure that those prices become much closer to equal, like a competitive market you'd expect. Right now what's happening is the American people are subsidizing in large fraction the research and development efforts for drug companies around the world by the higher prices that we pay. With this new order, Europe will share the burden of that. And in fact, if you may think of it as like as somehow it's like it's going after drug companies, actually it's helping drug companies. Because what we're also going to do with this order, what President Trump has done with this order, is he's said to European governments, look, if
these niggas are literally sitting around talking to y'all about drugs.
you are taking advantage of the drug companies by forcing them to charge.
We're getting the drugs cheaper.
Charge very, very low prices. We're going to defend American drug companies in Europe. At the same time, We're standing up for the American consumer who's been paying far too high prices for far too long. I can go back decades to point to congressional report after government report after government report of tremendously high drug prices, much higher than the rest of the world, and nothing has been done about it until this moment. And I'm really, really proud, President Trump, that you have done this. I'm really proud to be included in this and looking forward to the work ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the many
cold-blooded shit, y'all. They auditing the plug. They up here auditing the plug, y'all. Hey man, you didn't sell that. You didn't sell that to them for that. Times are getting crazy out here, man. Y'all hit the like button. And listen, there's a pinned comment in the chat. Head over to hempforfitness.com. That is hempforfitness.com. Head over to hempforfitness.com. Since we're talking about getting stuff for the cheaper, it's some high quality shit. Let me stop. Head over to hempforfitness.com. Use coupon code T-Tube10. Get 10% off your order. They deliver everywhere in the United States of America. No mailbox is safe. Mention CUDA and get
decommission them. They get to a certain age, they decommission them. It'll go to my library. They're talking about going to my library in years out. But I thought it was a great gesture. And it's something that was done by Ronald Reagan. They actually decommissioned the plane, and he put it in his library. And it actually has made the library, I think, a Boeing 707. It's actually made the library more successful. So it was good.
Do you plan to use the plane after you leave office?
No, I don't. No, it would go directly to the library after I leave office. I wouldn't be using it. No.
Mr. President, on the hostage, you said that the release of the American hostage, Adam Alexander, is a step in good faith to end this war. Do you expect any progress, or perhaps announcement on ceasefire during your trip to the Middle East?
We hope that we're going to have other hostages released too, as you know. So when I met with the hostages 3 weeks ago that were there for quite a while, you remember the 10 people that came in, mostly young people. 1 or 2 were a little bit older. They were explaining the trials and tribulations. I mean, they went through hell. And I said, how many are there? They said 59. I said, that's a lot. I didn't realize, because we got a lot out. We got a lot of hostages out, I think you will acknowledge. They said 59, but then they said, they followed that up by saying 59, of which 24 are living, the rest are dead. But the people whose son, mostly son, I think 1 daughter in this case, but mostly sons are there, or husbands are there. Those people want the dead bodies as much as they want the live body. I have a mother that calls me, but came up to me when I first met her, and she said, sir, please get my son out. He's dead, but they have his body. And I asked her about that, and it's as though he were alive. The level of wanting that body back is the same. It couldn't be any more, as though he were alive. So, getting the bodies back is very important. That could be a thing having to do with the religion. It could be same. I was amazed at the level of importance. It's the same as if the son or husband or whatever was alive. So they said 59. In fact, they came in with a number 59 written out on like a sign on their chest. They came to thank me for getting them out. And I said, what does the 59 mean? They said, well, that means there are 59 people. But then they said, but 24 are living. Now it's 21. The number's 21. So now it's actually, we'll get Etan today. We think we're getting him today. So it's 20. So they have 20 live hostages there. The rest are dead bodies.
Mr. President, are you open to negotiating your tariffs on cars, steel, and aluminum with China or any other country?
Well, we're not even talking about that. We're bringing the car business back into this country. We have commitments, not only commitments, they've already started construction on many plants. They've left Mexico in a few cases. In a few cases, they've left Canada. They're not going to build in Canada. They're going to build here because we have the market, and the tariffs have been amazing. The election and the tariffs. November 5th was a big day, and on top of that, of course, you wouldn't have the tariffs without the election, I guess, if you look at it. But we have at least 11 committed massive car factories that are going to be.
So it looked like people are starting to agree with him now that we somewhat see what he's talking about coming out on the other side. Okay, pause. God damn.
Built that are going to be that are in the process of being built.
I can't say shit.
And some are going through. Some have actually started. We also have renovations of existing factories where they weren't utilizing the full factory from years gone by, and now they're under full renovation. They'll be opening up full factories in a very short period of time. Our car industries, I think we're going to have the #1 industry. If you look at Japan and these others, they do tremendously with cars, and they can do that too. If they want to sell cars in the United States, they're going to have to build factories in the United States, because I'm interested in cars for the United States. Now, one other thing is, in our tax bill, we're giving not only no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, but also we're going to get a deduction for people that borrow money to buy a car if it's made in America. If it's not, we have no interest.
On the meeting with with between President Putin as well as President Zelensky. If President Putin doesn't show up to these talks in person in Turkey, will you join Europe in putting higher sanctions on Russia?
If I felt it would be important toward getting the deal done, I'm the one that insisted on the meeting. They couldn't get a meeting because one said ceasefire, one said no ceasefire, was going back and forth. I said, look, at this point, we got to stop it. Just go to the meeting. The meeting's been set. Go to the meeting on Thursday. And if I thought it would be helpful, I don't know where I'm going to be at that particular point. I'll be someplace in the Middle East, but I would fly there if I thought it would be helpful. Yeah, please.
Refugees. I want to ask you about South African refugees. Dozens of Afrikaners who claim discrimination in their home country are heading to the United States,
Right.
where your administration is going to welcome them as refugees. Now, this comes as you've halted virtually all refugee admissions for people fleeing famine and war from countries like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Now let me tell y'all something. If y'all haven't noticed, with every single president, they play favorites with certain groups of people. You know, with some groups of people, it'll be, you know, the Haitians, and then with certain groups of people, it'll be, you know, the Mexicans or this group. So, you know, I've always noticed that there's always a group of people every term. You know, presidents end up playing, you know, favorites with. But anyway, like I said, this is like a Elon. You know, Elon is kind of behind this. So.
Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others?
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, you know, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something, but we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of, but it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed.
UFO said the guy they tried to take out 3 times to stop him from doing what he's doing. Hey, I don't think third time is the charm of the day.
They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being...
Yeah, these are white South Africans, y'all. They exist.
brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa.
It's crazy.
And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people.
So I got a friend too. Like I was just telling y'all. I just told y'all before we listened to this. He was talking about how they and he was telling me about it. And I think I remember seeing this story a couple years ago. How just a lot of corruption and stuff is going on out there, and they don't care. You know, the people are just going crazy out there. People walked into the damn police station, y'all. They walked into the damn police station and just took that shit over. Where are the police now? Look at me, I'm black now. You know, the niggas went into the damn police station and took over. You know, and I asked them too. I was like, you know, we kind of, you know, I'm like, aren't the police armed? Don't they got guns? Is it like a, you know? And it's like, if you think about it, it's actually smart because they are armed and they got guns. That don't mean them niggas are ready to use all that ammunition or trained or know how to use all that ammunition. So when you think about it, that will be the perfect place to storm first. Because now you are heavily armed. You got the gun, you know? The fucked up part is that those people don't get paid as much. So are you ready to go over some BS? You know? Some of those cops ain't as patriotic as soldiers.
To escape from that violence and come here. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you. Are you letting China off the hook for these 90 days, and do you really believe that they will follow through with non-tariff barriers and remove those?
Non-monetary tariffs, yeah. Yeah, I think they're going to follow through. I think they want it very badly. I think they want the deal very badly. Again, this doesn't include the steel tariffs that I put on a long time ago that Biden tried to get off, but he couldn't get them off because it was too much money. You know, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China, what a lot of people don't know, but we put on the tariffs originally. And if I didn't do that, we wouldn't have a steel industry today. Now we have a thriving steel industry. It'll be thriving much more with what we're doing because this is the next level. But it doesn't include that, doesn't include cars, doesn't include pharmaceuticals when we do that. And the reason we're doing that will be to
now, how is this going to work, though? You're bringing back jobs and infrastructure to America at the same time on the cusp of AI, you know, because now you know the college industry is changing. AI teachers, pay attention, y'all. How's that gonna work? And is DeepSeek the back door? Think about it.
Get them to come back in the country. You know, there are, again, I always say it because a lot of people forget, but if a company like Eli Lilly, which is making a massive investment in the United States right now, they're building many, many plants. They've already started like 7 of them, many plants, but they are not going to be tariffed. There's no tariff cost. So they're all doing that. They're all coming back to the United States. I mean, I'll tell you what, I hope I get the benefit of watching this because, as president, because, you know, it takes a little while to do this stuff, and we're doing it early in the administration. If you think of it, we have, I believe, if you look at the real total, it's over $10 trillion committed for plants and factories. Other administrations haven't had $1 trillion over a 4-year period, even over an 8-year period. We have over $10 trillion committed in one form or the other over 2 months. Give me a break. I'm here 3, but let's give me a break on the first month. We want to get acclimated. But, you know, but if you think about it, it's really 2 months. And so in 2 months, we have an investment already of over $10 trillion. And other presidents haven't had that done over a year, over 4 years in some cases. It's unprecedented. There's never been anything like it. It's a very exciting time in America. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Who's in charge of the budget bill while you're gone, sir?
I'll sign that, yeah.
Mr. President, are you ready to impose
You want him to answer
sanctions
shit on the
on
way out.
Russia if Putin doesn't agree with the 30-day ceasefire?
Mr. President, can you answer my question in travel, please? Y'all hit the like button, support the show. Hit the Cash App. Mr. President, can you answer my question in travel, please? You know? What was I about to say? You know, if America is playing with more money, you know, yeah, we can negotiate some crazy ass deals going forward. You know, if you think about it. But that might be scary too, because when other people get into office that don't have a, you know, business savvy type mindset, you know, we can fuck up on a large scale too. Like I said, nobody talks about how first world countries, quote unquote, is a big guinea pig experiment also. You know, at least second and third world, you know what to expect because they're kind of locked in. And you can go up or down. There's a little bit of comfort in that, you know, when the world is quote unquote fucking up. But first world, guinea pig.
They're going to agree. I do. I have a feeling.
And who's in charge of the budget bill?
Let's see what happens.
No European countries who's in charge of the budget bill negotiations? In the negotiations.
The budget bill negotiations are taking place. Who in your administration is in charge of that while you're gone? Is it
Everybody.
J.D. Vance, Scott
Bobby, from the standpoint of medical, this group behind me, I mean, I think it's the best group ever assembled in terms of medical. I think you're going to see a tremendous cut. I don't think. I mean, I know you're going to see it in Medicaid and Medicare. That cut will be massive because drugs are 50-60% of the cost. So Medicaid costs are going down and Medicare costs are going down because of what we're doing today. And there's no, it's not like, oh, gee, well, maybe.
So they were talking about that they might get rid of Medicaid. You know? But what was said to me is that, yeah, you know, Trump is fucking up Medicaid and cutting Medicaid and stopping Medicaid for certain people. A lot of old people are just going to be, they try to make it seem like a lot of old people are just going to be thrown out on the streets, or people that's sick going to get thrown out on the streets and stuff like that. And, you know it's going to get swapped out. People wouldn't have that happen, but hey, then again, you never know.
It won't happen. It's going to happen because the other countries have no choice. Now, the drug companies are going to have to say, listen, if you don't pay more, we're not going to give you the drug, and they're willing to do that. So that's it. They have to, we have to equalize.
Mr. President, what is the price controls?
Say it?
How do you respond to the fact that this...
It's not price control, no. What was price control is before. If you want to talk about price control is what they were doing. They were making us pay. They set a price, and they said, here's what we're going to pay, and anything else charge America. Because at that time they had a very stupid president, and it really went crazy during the last 4 years. And remember this, the Democrats are the ones that allowed this to happen. They were the ones that were the protector of this pricing system. And I think it's going to be very hard. You'll have to ask Democrats, are they going to vote against the one great, big, beautiful deal that's being negotiated now, tax cuts, etc. When now on top of the tax cuts and regulation cuts, all the things, now you're going to say that the price of your medicine is going down by 60, 70, 80%. You're going to vote against it? I think a lot of Democrats are going to be forced to do something that their leaders are going to beg them not to do, and that's vote for the bill. I don't see how they can vote against it. How can they vote against it when drug prices, drugs and pharmaceuticals are going to be down 70, 80%? It's going to be very interesting.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
Only ABC, well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us, I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. You know, there was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto, when they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you
She don't play golf. She's not going to understand that.
ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received
It's not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense. And you should know better, because you've been embarrassed enough, and so has your network. Your network is
Dang, he going after her. She can't even say nothing because she know her job's on the line. He and her knows her job. God damn.
a disaster. ABC is a disaster. Here is the bill. Bobby, come on over here. Now you're talking about trillions and trillions. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, a quick question about Turkey.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Oh, man. Bro standing on business, y'all. Bro standing on business, man. Thank you for the drugs, Mr. President. Thank you for the drugs, Mr. President. Thank you for the D-rugs. Thank you for the D-rugs, Mr. President. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Shit, now y'all got the drugs. to go with your Biden crack pipe. All right? Are you not happy or entertained? Shit. Now you got the Biden drugs to go right along. My bad. Now you got the drugs to go right along with your Biden approved crack pipe. Did y'all see? Man, listen. Did y'all see what fentanyl can do to you? Like a small dab of that shit. You're done. Dunsky. Duniana. You know? You're super done. I didn't see it, y'all, until I saw some type of drug, what you call it, like A&E television and CNN got like some type of like a drug expert that come on there and he'd be like, this is enough to do this, and this is enough to do that, and this is enough to take down a baby calf, like some goofy shit, right? Anyway, I remember seeing a police officer, quote unquote, bagging up fentanyl for evidence. You know what I'm saying? You know, shout outs to my police officers and ex-police officers in the building. Bagging up, you know what I'm saying? Bagging up, some fentanyl, right? Some fentanyl, right? And bro just he was zonked out, like he just passed. He passed out. He passed out. Something crazy, Kind of like, y'all remember that video from like back in the day, where like those people was like, man, we seized like 1 billion pounds of marijuana, and then they put that shit in the field. And they were burning it in the field, and like the newscaster and all the people that was standing around was getting like big secondhand smoke. Stupid. What do you think was gonna happen? Smart ass, right? But then check this out. Look what pops up on my screen, and I saw this the other day. Check this out. Look at this dude. This is a cop that got caught in the bathroom. I ain't gonna lie. Homies Johnson was out. Check this out. What's going on, Sin? Check this out.
Morales! Wake up, bro! Morales! There you go. Wake up, bud. Here you go. Wake up. Come on, Mark.
You're supposed to be upholding the law. Now you in the bathroom doing a full split. You're supposed to be upholding the law. Now you in the bathroom doing a full split. High as hell. Oh, Lord. Let's go.
Come on. Wake up, bud. Come on.
On October 24, 2023, panic ensues at the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department in California when a deputy enters the bathroom to find a colleague unresponsive on the floor. As deputies attempt life-saving measures, the mystery of what caused his collapse unravels, forcing them to draw a horrifying conclusion. The following report is based on official police records. Please note that all persons charged with a crime are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. It's just after 8 p.m. when an on-duty deputy enters the restroom at the Sacramento.
I mean, is this enough to be proven guilty? Look, he's under the door. He's like, how can you miss him? Cops ain't even that flexible. God damn, he's under the door.
County Sheriff's Department, finding Deputy Marvin Morales seemingly passed out in the corner of the stall.
The person that's supposed to call the hospital for you needs the hospital called for them.
Leave that door open! My radio is there. His vest off. His vest off. Straighten his legs.
And now one of them niggas put his Johnson back in his pants. Nah, pat that down too. Y'all want to pat down everything. Goddamn. Good Lord.
Straight leg.
It's got to be crazy watching this in court. Your Honor, I'm not that well endowed. That's probably why I'm doing the fentanyl that was given to me by some shaded individual that I confiscated it from. I don't have anything, Your Honor. As you can see.
Morales!
Oh, y'all put on the gloves. Put his Johnson away. Y'all, hey, look.
Morales! Hey, drag him out! Drag him out! Drag him out! Drag him out! Hey, leave that door open!
Damn, imagine sneaking off on your lunch break to go do some whatever you thought you was doing. And it did you in.
For fire? I got it. Put a trash can out there. Morales. Wake up, bud. Come on. Pulse? How's it
I don't even know why cops think that they can trust their plug. Never mind. I don't.
Not breathing? Huh? He's breathing. He's got pulse. Whose car is this? That's his car. That's my car. I came to use the restroom. I thought he was in there taking a poop, and as soon as I opened the door, he's leaning against the corner.
Oh, he took some shit. Oh, he took some shit. You wasn't necessarily wrong. He took some shit. Some shit took him.
Probably. He's down. Yeah, he's down. There you go.
There we go. There we go.
Come on, buddy. There you go. Wake up, bud. There you go. Wake up.
Come on, Mark. Come on.
Wake up, bud.
Come on.
Nah, stay asleep.
Come on, man.
Bro.
Wake up, Ralph. Wake up.
Worst dream to wake up to. Stay asleep.
Wake up. There you go. There you go.
Hey, do we want to roll into the recovery at all?
What's up?
You want to start rolling into the recovery at all? Just because of all the mucus from you giving him that?
We'll keep him like this because he's breathing. He's got pulse.
Come on, Mark.
Come on, breathing.
Come on, bud.
Come on, Marvin.
Mark. Come on, bud.
Yeah, starting rub's not going to help him. On pulse.
Good.
Come on, Marvin. Snap out of his leg.
They attempt a sternal rub, a technique used to assess a person's level of consciousness, but Deputy Morales has no visible response.
Come on, Marvin. I'm going to try to breathe one more time.
Dan, you're done with that? There we go. There we go. Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark. There we go.
Hey, take this. I'm going to the ambulance, Mark.
Come on, Mark. Come on. Come on, Mark. I see you.
There you go.
Keep breathing, man. Stay with us. You're good.
Paramedics arrive, and Deputy Morales is transported to a local hospital for further treatment. Meanwhile, deputies on scene learn he collected narcotics during an earlier on-duty call. With concerns he may have experienced an accidental exposure, deputies begin to search his vehicle.
Oh my God! So what are they? What are they trying to say? They're trying to say that he could have possibly got some remixed fentanyl. Not that he was sneaking off and trying to do it, but he could have confiscated some remixed fentanyl. And mishandling it is the reason why he's in that bathroom on the floor. Yo, doing drugs with your Johnson out is crazy work, bro. Doing D-rugs with your Johnson out is crazy work. I'm not going to say he might beat it, because, regular civilians, you get fired. If you're an officer of the law, you get transferred, But shout outs to my brothers that are officers of the law. Some of y'all get fired. Don't think that works for y'all. Some of y'all get fired. Only certain brothers, in the law, that's under those rules. They get transferred. But yeah, some of y'all get fired. I don't know. Maybe those guys with that lady. Y'all know that lady from a couple of years ago that slept with the whole precinct. She wasn't for the street. She was for the precinct. She got cashed out. I think somebody was asking me the other day, like, why do guys stay with women that cheat on them? That's a good that's a good reason. You know, probably. You know, best breakup ever. Uh, I don't know if those brothers got transferred. Eventually, they probably did. You know, this. The sheriff tell you, man, go sit down for like 2 years, and then come back. You know, we'll paperwork you and make that. Make that shit go away. You know. But anyway, let's go.
Said it was in the glove. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I felt those anything in it. That one's empty.
Now, why am I saying what I'm saying here? Because this right here might be the cover-up. Just saying.
Nah, I'm not seeing anything in the box. No, didn't feel like there was anything in them. Not that one.
Would probably not be in his ticket, though.
Actually, shine light over here, Serge.
No. Something in that one?
Damp, but they don't feel. Don't feel anything on that one. I don't see any other gloves floating around in there, do you?
No.
Pull up his last call that he was on and see if he already logged anything in RMS for it. I'm surprised we haven't done that, and if we're not finding it, he could have already possibly booked it.
I was like, he was on a 415 family, and I didn't say anything about dope.
No, he was on a, he collected dope at like 6:30-ish.
The following footage, recorded at a Shell gas station, captures the moment he obtained the narcotics, just hours before he would be found unresponsive on the bathroom floor.
What's up, bro? What's good? You okay? You're having a lot of fun out here, bro.
Yeah. You got new sunglasses.
I just saw you last week over here, bro.
Yeah.
You was dancing at the same time, too, man.
Yeah.
You promised me your best dance moves.
That nigga getting jiggy too. God damn. I'm starting to think they're friends, y'all. So this is the drug we're negotiating with China with. Okay. That nigga up there jiggy. He can't even hide it. His mind is telling him to chill, but his body's like, yo, act normal. He up there getting jiggy. He gave him the dirty pack. You know? I ain't gonna lie, I think sometimes, as an officer, you'll see somebody tweaking out and shit, be like, God damn, I kind of, fuck this shit. I kind of want what they got. Go into the bathroom. And you shit, both of them got jiggy. If you think about it, you got found with your not even your pants down, but your Johnson was out. Anyway.
You.
Yeah?
You promised me your best dance moves.
Yeah, definitely.
What's up? You don't see the way.
I gotta go back to downtown, dance there. They're all waiting for me. Last time I went, the stadium was about to fall down.
You were about to pass out the other night, though, last week. You was on that Fetty.
Oh yeah?
Fetty Wap.
Yeah. Is that what that foil is right there in your pocket, or be real with it?
This is what we're arguing with China over, y'all.
Just be real. Just be real.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's the thing. We're going to be negotiating with China. Then we got to accept that we got a fentanyl problem in America.
Could be, is it? I think it is.
I'm not sure.
Yeah?
No.
You got the shit? Hell yeah, I got the shit. You got the shit? You know damn well I got the shit.
For now.
So you could either hand it over, or I could put you in cuffs and take it out your pocket. It's up to you.
Yeah, hand it over so I can go do it in the bathroom later.
Hand it over. Hand it over.
Can I get it back?
How about that straw right there?
Dang, and there was another officer there too? Why'd you bring it to evidence? It's evident you didn't bring it to evidence.
Deputy Morales and his partner temporarily
Dang, and then he tried to... Oh, dang. All right, see, I didn't get the full story. I'm glad I'm watching this with y'all. I thought the officer had his own little tool to try to do it. He tried to do it with his tool. Muscatool. This is horrible, y'all. Y'all hit the like button. If you laugh, you owe me a like. Double tap the screen. Hit the Cash App. Support the show. Oh, this gonna get good. Hold on, y'all.
Detain the suspect. After clearing his pockets, he asks for clarification on the contents of the foil packet.
Trying to be in the precinct dancing.
What is this? What exactly is this?
Show me how to use it. Show me how to use it.
Pistol?
Deputy Morales can then be seen
He lied to him. He don't want it to be a high schedule.
tucking the foil packet into a black glove before securing it in the...
Why is he putting it in the glove? To sneak it. To sneak it. Damn.
the hatch of his cruiser.
Very suspicious.
Afterwards, he writes the suspect a citation for possession of narcotics and lets him go.
All right. Well, see you next week.
And look, and this is just as crazy because, like, we were talking about the Duke situation, right? The guy that got shot in Chicago, and I guess if you take the highway in Chicago, I guess you could get there. That's how they got there. But they found the car burnt up, y'all. You know. You don't have to hear it here, but I'm sure you heard it here billions of times. You can hear it everywhere. You are being recorded, you know. I think even back in like 2007, 2008, I was talking to y'all where even with the PS2, right? They were saying, because I remember reading this in the magazine, they were saying that there's going to be at least 3 items in your house, your cell phone, and just other items, right? That's going to have cameras on it. Every American at some point is going to own 3 things in their house that have a camera on it. You know what comes with cameras, audio for the most part. Well, not for the most part, but anyway. Y'all get what I'm saying. But the ones in your house do come with audio for the most part. I don't know niggas that buy cameras without the audio, but anyway. Public consumption. You're getting filmed every 13 seconds, just about, by something. You're getting filmed. Everybody, you're getting filmed or recorded by something almost every 13 seconds. I guarantee it. If you're outside, no matter what you're doing, you're getting filmed. So what they do is they use the traffic, even the traffic lights. They use those cameras. Those are cameras. So they'll know what direction you're coming from, where you're going. They'll just watch the cameras. Just make it easy. Did you get out? Did you swap? Where did you leave the car? Why is this car on fire? Whoop-de-whoop. But here you got this cop right here that got a full-on body cam on his chest. He has a chesty. That's a GoPro term, y'all. He has a chesty with audio. And he up here right there just putting the drugs in a glove. Not one of those big bags that they have that says evidence. Very suspicious.
Hey, I'm here. This is my area. You're around.
Despite securing the evidence in his cruiser, it's nowhere to be found. However, deputies still searching quickly find something else, which raises even more concerns.
You said foil with in a glove, right?
How often do we just get rid of dope?
I decided.
He probably took a little bit of that dope out of that foil. And that shit folded him like a lawn chair in that bathroom.
But he cited it.
You're right, you're right.
Yep.
You found me. I've been foiled.
Although that might just be an old busted meth pipe because there was no mention of a pipe in the call.
Look at his friends here trying to cover it up.
Yeah, but there's glass right here and there's foil. Or there's not foil, but there's...
Yeah, it might just be an old meth pipe, Sarge.
Huh?
I'm not gonna lie, searching a police car, like how you search a suspect's car, is wild.
That might just be an old pipe.
We found the gun, y'all.
In there, but that's literally just a shattered pipe.
Well, I mean, is that what it was?
Yeah, that's the bag he should have been put it in.
It said what the guy said was meth, so it was off-white substance and foil.
Meth.
No mention of a pipe, though.
No.
One deputy considers an explanation that might explain why the narcotics would no longer be secured in his vehicle.
You think he was gonna go and book it, but use the bathroom first?
No, there's no reason to. I mean,
You see? Shout outs to the cops, though. Y'all, it's a fraternity. Y'all look out for each other. You think he was going to put it in evidence first before he used the bathroom? Oh, yeah. Take drugs with you to the bathroom. That's very professional.
he could have, but there's no reason to pocket it because the stuff's all the way in the back of the station. So you'd have to get back in the car and drive in and grab it. That has to be in his cargo pocket.
It has to be. But are his pants still at the hospital? He went with his pants to the hospital.
Fentanyl and see if they can check on that.
Deputies with Morales at the hospital check his pockets, finally locating the evidence.
He in the hospital bed looking like, oh, no.
Yeah, yep.
Don't.
I think it just, you can feel the flow in there. Yeah, I don't want to fucking open it up, get us all exposed. Yeah. It's crazy. Shit happens quick.
However, the question of whether the exposure was accidental reaches a shocking conclusion when deputies locate a small glass pipe and an orange torch lighter in the bathroom where Deputy Morales collapsed.
The pipe that's on the ground wasn't next to the
Oh. Let's find out if Morales have morale.
That's what I'm concerned about. There's a meth pipe sitting over by the door.
I don't remember, but it was in the stall.
Okay.
With him.
Okay.
Additionally, hair and blood samples collected at the hospital indicated at least 90 days of narcotics use. Investigators with the Bureau of Internal Affairs discovered that on August 9th and 15th, 2023, he cited 2 individuals for misdemeanor possession of paraphernalia. In his reports, he claimed to have disposed of a glass pipe, but later...
Man, I told y'all, man, they'll bust you for weed and go home and smoke it with their family. Hey, cold world, y'all.
Admitted to taking one home and using it multiple times. Investigators with the Bureau of Internal Affairs ultimately concluded...
That's why when he saw him out here dancing, he knew that he the one that got the good shit. You know? When the fentanyl hit the streets, you know who got it. Just look around. That nigga was up there jive turkeying behind that building. You know, like, okay, yeah, I know where I can get it from. Just hand it over. Robbing somebody else for drugs is cold. He cold. All right. Now, why am I bringing this up? I don't know. I just want to have a good laugh with y'all. I'm sick. It hurts when I talk. Please support the show. I'm going to say this. This is what we were negotiating with China for. Fentanyl. Fentanyl. Right? Fentanyl. Okay? So, I don't know.
Concluded that Deputy Morales intentionally used the narcotics he seized from the suspect on October 24th, 2023.
I never really looked it up. Is fentanyl an opioid?
On January 1st, 2024, investigators recommended Morales for termination. However, before formal action was taken, he submitted a formal resignation letter on February 2nd, 2024.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Morales. You can't fire me if I quit. Yo, you know what? We about to fight. You know what? I quit. How about that? How about them apples? We about to... I quit. Shit. All right. Let's get into some other stuff, man. Let's circle our way over. Let's switch gears real quick, y'all. Circle our way over to Myron. Now... I heard Tariq. Well, Tariq and Myron always been going back and forth. You know, I think Myron's at a point right now where he might end up getting that debate with Tariq. You know, he's been sharpening his sword. Pause. Damn, I can't say shit. I'll show you guys. You know, pause. Extra pause. He was on a college campus, you know, turning up. I got some clips that was put together for a pre-record. I got a lot of pre-records coming, mind y'all. I just need to take a day off and put them all together, you know. But we'll get into that. You know, that should be an interesting one. All right. I need you guys to do me a huge favor. Other than head over to hempforfitness.com, please support the show. Let's get at least one more supporter. Let me open up the phone lines, open up the panels if you guys want to come up. You know what I'm saying? Do you guys have a fentanyl story? Shit. You know, but I just want y'all to keep in mind, you know, what the pharmaceutical company in China and all that other stuff, what we talking about when they talk about, you know, drugs and stuff like that. A lot of the drugs and stuff that people take have low levels of that fentanyl shit in it. You know what I'm saying? Just enough to keep you and grandma hooked. Okay? You know, oddly enough, I mean, some might be, you know, with today's day and age, I see more middle-aged people not really on medication like that, to tell you the truth. And by middle age, I mean like 30 and 40s, you know. Some people in their 30s and 40s, they're on medication. But you're seeing like young people, like niggas in their 20s, heavily medicated. And older people, you know, people that, you know, need the medication, you know, or you know, whatever, you know. But that's what they're arguing over, you know. So y'all hit the like button. I just see O'Shea. Shout outs to O'Shea Duke Jackson. O'Shea just dropped this, so this will be good to get into this next topic that we're gonna cover. All right, give me 1 second. Hold on. Let me do this right quick before we get back into the game. Give me 1 second. Y'all hit the like button. Support the show. Let's get it. Let's go.
Content creator, our favorite athlete, is over time you get to see them change, and hopefully for the better. If you watch LeBron James since 2003, you've gotten to see his progression as an NBA player. Things that he was weak at, eventually he got better. The same thing with Patrick Mahomes. But we've also seen the flip side of somebody crashing out. Let's use Antonio Brown for an example. One of the greatest route runners in NFL history destroys his career from doing nothing, just crashing out all the time, despite getting numerous opportunities to play professional football. But in the same light, YouTubers have also crashed out. EDP445 is one, and Fresh and Fit is another. The so-called logical and intellectual power of the two. Once a fan favorite podcast across the United States, these guys have become the most hated in every way, especially Myron. And this is not because of controversial takes. This is because Myron has either told the line or crossed the line with hate speech, with many groups, in particular blacks.
You guys want to know why the black community behaves like this? Because it's run by women. That's another ugly ass truth. The black community is a matriarchy, which is why it's failed for decades upon decades upon decades.
Now, how long have we been saying this? But okay, man.
Now, recently, Myron Gaines went on to Piers Morgan, and there was a controversial debate. And of course, he mentioned Tariq Nasheed in a very pejorative way.
Important to understand the entire context of what led us to this position, because again, Metcalf and Hendricks is a microcosm of a much larger problem. Earlier, we were talking about tribalism when you were mentioning Nick Fuentes' tweet. Here's the thing. Black people could be as tribal as they want to be. You have people like Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Umar Johnson running around about black power and marry black women and keep it in the hood and all this other stuff. But if white people assemble and say, you know what, white power, we need to keep our nation white, they're immediately ostracized and labeled as supremacists.
A lot of people don't understand it, but okay.
and they get banned off every single platform. I find that interesting.
Now, to be honest, the FBA community is not the only community that Myron talks about. He talks about anybody that he feels can get views, most notably from X, since he's demonetized on YouTube. In fact, they're demonetized many different places. YouTube, Facebook, sometimes Twitch. It doesn't matter. They've lost all of their financial fortunes. But despite the fact, Fresh and Fit are still going forth, basically humiliating themselves and talking bad about black people. But of course they have a call-in show. And because of the hatred that they've spewed towards people on the internet, sometimes people come back to bite them.
That's my question. Why is Fresh? Why is everybody up there? That's my question. Since you want to try to get an argument, you are. What you talking about, bro? You was a bro. like you got so much to say about black people not wanting motherfucking handouts from y'all, but your family came from another country, a country where y'all are y'all's own worst problems. You say black Americans is their own worst problems, but won't handouts from the government.
Now, Myron responds with this.
You only attack blacks, and I go into all the other details, all the other people that I talked about. Then you go ahead and you change your position. Well, I only care that you talk about blacks. Well, hold on. That means your original argument doesn't make sense because you came in here on the assumption that I only talked about black people. Then when I checked you and I told you no, I actually talked about everybody, then it's I don't care about blacks. Okay.
But here it gets worse.
And that's the problem with you. You probably got a degree from Howard or some other school thinking that you're smart. You pseudo-intellectual dumbass. We was kangs. We invented everything. You're stupid, bro. That's the reality. You're dumb. That's the reality, man. Holy shit. The was right about a lot of y'all, man. You should be a tree, you bitch. Out of here, man.
Now I'm going to get to that very controversial statement at the end, talking about the Klan and the Klan hanging people and things like that. But I've noticed that, there is a market for blacks that speak like this. And even if they're not saying it as bad as Myron is saying, there is a group of black people who are trying to make money on the internet saying very similar things.
So I want y'all to pay attention to how real racism in America is covert. Think about it. Don't take too long to think about it. Dropping gems. All right? Y'all hit the like button, support the show. Hit the Cash App. Links in the chat. This is what I'm telling y'all. Real racism is covert. Now, this reverse anti-racism that we got going on, I guess the black brand of racism, it's overt. Isn't that crazy? Ain't that interesting? How's real racism that operates like a well-oiled machine covert? But this reverse racism is overt. And it's not even just that. Not even just that. There's like this trope going on, or this trend going on that they got going on, and even white people are calling it out about. And if you guys been around for a good minute, like every 7 years, or maybe 5 years, but it seems like every 5 to 7 years, a case or something happens, and like for the rest of the year or like half the year, like white people get on this like white victimhood thing. It's like it's like this weird white victimhood thing that pops out every, you know what I'm saying, every so often. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying some of it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I've noticed it. It is absolutely noticeable. And to a certain degree, shout out to my white players, there's a lot of truth to it. And I'm not gonna lie, it's fucked up if you can't speak up about it. Especially in America, at least. Because if you look around the world, there's a lot of white victimhood everywhere. Hence why earlier we were talking about South Africans getting let into America. But anyway, shout outs to everybody here. Y'all hit the like button, hit the links in the chat, support the show. Thank you guys for your support. Okay. Let's keep this going, all right? And we're going to dive down the Myron Gaines rabbit hole real quick. I want to show y'all something that I saw a couple hours ago. Let's get it.
There was a guest on Pierre Morgan, and he was talking to another black supremacist. That's what we call him. And he said black people don't like living around black people. And I agree with him. I don't like living around black people, right? They tear up they rob you, they steal from their own people close to them. I remember I moved in a neighborhood, I was running for school board, and a black person out of my car was stolen.
And let me tell y'all something, too, about quote-unquote racist black people. To the masses of other black people. And a lot of black people hold the same sentiments, too, by the way. You know? But in an odd, weird, and fucked up way, if you listen to them long enough, black people, because black people find shit entertaining, so to say, you end up agreeing with them. If you think I'm bullshitting, go listen to Charleston White. You know, go listen to a couple of other people around here. You know, a lot of people end up agreeing with them. And I mean like double down agreeing with them. You know? And it's not even that they have to be in compliance or telling the full-on truth. Just some of it got to make sense. And you'll have a bunch of Negroes agreeing with them, whether they did their history or not. I mean, some of the stuff being said at that point doesn't matter. You know, a lot of niggas don't give a damn about doing a damn history. But the whole reason why they're mad is supposed to be rooted in people doing a damn history. And let's just face it. Hell, if you got Myron talking crazy about FBA or who or whatever he gonna talk about in, you know, specificity or whatever, he gonna look good before he looks bad. You know, because I don't know if y'all been under a rock or whatever. Shout outs to Royce J and a lot of the other brothers in the building. Y'all have seen how those conversations go. You understand what I'm saying? He'll look bad before Myron will look good, but way before he'll look bad. Talking to them dudes. So, I hate to say it like that because they got the wrong dudes representing them. So at some point, Tariq Nasheed is going to have to come out the cut. You know? At some point, Tariq is going to have to probably say something. You know? And I'm going to show you later how this might happen this summer. You know what I'm saying? Myron is getting his clout up. You know? But yeah, and we talked about this before too. You see Tariq Nasheed, you know, smart, you know, don't respond to Charleston White. But to save face, we might get a Myron debate, which would be just as good. You know, but then again, I think if Tariq Nasheed does debate Myron, which I should put a poll in the chat, Myron might just end up blowing the fuse and just jump to ad hominems or just result to calling Tariq stupid. You know. So it'll be interesting. Let's go.
Stolen for the first time ever. My Mercedes was stolen. They stole my car.
Now, let's go back and talk about this whole operation about the KKK was right about a lot of y'all. And then this other guy who agrees with he don't feel safe about black people. You can make this content as a black person or an African American or maybe as what Tariq would call somebody that is a non-black or non-African American or a tether, somebody that's not FBA. And some of your points could be valid about black crime. Some of your points could be valid about the mistakes that black people are making as a whole. But then you're trying to get accepted by a group of people ultimately who don't respect you. And people who are white racists still could appreciate the fact that you are saying this, but ultimately what they don't understand is that they will hear this.
We even asked us, he's like, if I kind of break the rules, just hit me up about it, guys, you know. And I agree with him, like, we gain nothing. Like, one of these comes in, they talk nice, they're like, oh, look, white people deserve their space, and can't we just be friends, and blah, blah, blah. But then later that night, they're just behaviour. You know, I think it was you, Comfy, that was speaking about that guy where he's, like, against the Jews and all that, and a half an hour later, he's posting like, yeah, as many as you can, and just full behaviour.
Yeah.
You know?
Myron Gaines. Yeah. Myron Gaines.
The worst thing he said was, don't marry a girl until you're 35. What a retarded thing to say.
Yeah, what an idiot. Stupidest thing ever, mate.
That's why we're talking. This is what we were saying yesterday. Like, at the end of the day, they're like you. They're low impulse control. Even if, you know, they say a few things that are based or whatever by our standards, don't fall for it. Don't think that they're on our side. Oh, based. You know, it just doesn't happen. You know what I mean, though? This is what
But see, this is the thing. Myron doesn't understand. You know, Myron is still new here in the manosphere. There's a lot of guys that y'all put on the top, like I said, that are still new here in the manosphere, or in these spaces and stuff, like manosphere adjacent spaces. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. This is why you gotta know the history or have been around for a minute. You gotta stay in that sweet spot, because anytime you start clamoring or trying to get another group's attention and stuff in here, you're gonna repeat history all over again. And if you don't know the history, then you don't know what you're gonna repeat all over again. The black and white manosphere was together. You know, they absolutely was together. Racist shit is what split them up. I don't know how much times I gotta keep saying this shit. That's what split them up. If you wasn't around for Stormfront, i.e., which is Reddit now, but if you wasn't around for Stormfront, or you wasn't around for the Nola Girl arc, and you wasn't around for some of those old school situations, you're not gonna know what road you're going down. And yes, most guys with pure intentions, even including myself, are getting fucked over daily, or in the long run. Wanna know why? Because we go the extra mile to help men, put the information out there. Whether for peanuts or not, right? And try to tell y'all. Y'all don't want to listen, because, you know, this generation would want to see people crash. They want to see people hurt. That's where their self-esteem is at. You know? He wasn't here for the Nola Girl arc. He wasn't here for the split. He wasn't here. It's like a lot of these people, even in the black pill sectors, he wasn't here for all of that. So he doesn't know where it's gonna lead. He doesn't have a compass of the distance. You know what I'm saying, that he has to keep when it comes to certain things. Because even with just the manosphere talking points that Fresh and Fit talks about, man, them dudes are gonna chew your ass up. You will say, hey, don't marry until you're 35 and stuff like that. And you know, in their culture, they're like, man, you got people getting married at 19. They're going to call you a dumbass. You don't know what you're talking about. That's because you date trash. Blah, blah, blah. You're going to hear the whole enchilada. You're going to hear the whole thing. So, not even just the politics. If they agreed with you on the politics tip, they will still find a way to try to cancel you off of dating preferences. And the fucked up part is that whole T, those OnlyFans girls and Myron's type, Those guys wish that they could get those types. And even if those guys did get married at a young age, they'll be lusting over those type of women even while married. Be dead wrong on the internet.
It's what people think. No, it's what
but Myron Gaines,
Myron
Gaines,
look at this.
no,
No,
Myron
it's
Gaines
like,
as like,
like
how many followers that
But Myron doesn't know that.
Myron Gaines has just for fun.
like
he has,
but
that's the point. I think it's the only reason why some people listen to him. It's because he's a little bit known, but he's still a neck.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And come the end of the day, especially in somewhere like the States where they're just niggas everywhere, what you think these people are going to align, you think they're going to help you.
And that's the funny part. He didn't have to get on CNN and say all of that, though. Like, low-key, high-key. Well, why can't white people say Negro? And blah, blah, blah. It's like, they have been saying it. If you think white people don't run around saying nigga and other races, you crazy. You crazy. That's like number one influential American words. You got people from other countries can't even form a sentence in English, but they know nigga. This is what I'm saying. He didn't even have to argue that on CNN. It's just that people are tired of saying it behind closed doors and tired of probably getting sued or fucked up over Freudian slips. Some people just say, fuck it, I'm going to say it outside, you know, or whatever. What I'm saying is this, right? They are saying it. They're saying it at festivals. They're saying it in closed doors. They're saying it amongst each other. You know, what is it to argue about at this time? Or at this point? But to run around and saying that, oh, it's not fair, like they completely not saying it, is crazy. Why am I saying this? Well, we're going to get into this topic of this whole, you know, reverse racism and white victimhood that's going on. Like I said, every 5 to 7 years this phenomenon occurs. But not even. Sometimes it's not even just that. It's a lot of cases and stuff going on in the world that prompt this type of discussion, you know? And yes, this is not my first rodeo with this type of discussion. I know what the hell I'm talking about. Pay attention, y'all. Because these discussions even carry their own talking points. Let's get it.
They'll turn on you as quick as anything, mate,
fast
right?
as a
Right.
yeah.
They're fucking yeah, they're fucking niggas.
Yeah.
Ultimately, other groups who love for you to talk like that are still going to differentiate.
Y'all comments. Y'all up here commenting, and I'm not even seeing y'all comments. UFO Kamikaze said, tatted up cops aren't undercover. Always made me wonder about them. Yeah, my bad. I'm just not seeing that comment. No, a lot of them be in gangs. You know, and police know that. A lot of them be gangbangers. There are a lot of gangbangers that infiltrated certain precincts and stuff. So it is what it is.
Between you, and even though you're telling the so-called truth about black people, they don't want to deal with you either. All right, they don't want you around their women because, again, you're also black. So when you're saying that the Klan should do X, Y, and Z, well, really what the Klan is including in that equation is you also. You believe that you're excluding yourself in the process, but the reality is you're including yourself because they have already included you because you're still black, all right? And they don't want anything to do with you either. Those people who talk about those issues. And what I want to talk about is the black world. Guys, I understand working with black people and dealing with black people is not easy. I understand that a lot of your trauma comes from the black community, whether it's in the African American community or whether you're Caribbean, it comes from your community, or whether you're from Africa or an African country and it comes from there. I get it. It is hard working with your own group. However, having ownership within your community, you will get much more than when you're acting like this in somebody else's community who doesn't want you to be here. All right. Now, I could say that as a YouTuber, I may have had some more successes if I was in a different genre. But to be honest, being in black YouTube, I've gotten all the way to where I've gotten by working with my own community. And
now, this is what O'Shea leaves out, though. You've made a lot of money throwing black people under the bus. Those same black people, you made a lot of money throwing them under the bus too. Go look at this content. Go look at his content. And here's the trick to this whole black on black crime BS. White on white crime is big. Black on black crime is big. Asian on Asian crime is big. People will harm the closest thing that looks like them.
And leaving a lot of opportunities on the table. Okay. And I've done that over I don't know how many years. You get more when you're working with your people, with your group, and you get your respect from your community, and you don't have to go out and sell out and do what these people are doing, trying to get the least amount of butter biscuits from people who don't want you. Neither one of these guys will financially benefit from the community they want to be in because you're already doing this stuff for free. So why would they pay you? Why would they pay Myron or this other guy who's talking down on the black community, and you can't go back to the black community and get anything from your group, and you can't have any ownership in your community, even if it is violent, even if it is bad? You don't have any ability to clean it up. And the reason why investing in any black community, whether it's in the African community or African diaspora or in your own community, is that if you're successful, you can clean it up, okay? The white community or upper class communities don't necessarily need you there, right? And I'm not trying to say where you can or cannot live, but that opportunity is already taken. The opportunity is with your own group because you understand it and have problems. Are there going to be problems? Sure. Will people sometimes steal? Sure. Will people sometimes rob? Sure. Will that happen? Yes. But you know what? The greatest opportunity is that which is untapped, okay? Which is why a lot of investors wait for people to figure something out in Africa and let it get popping, or in the black community, and we can see it in hip hop and music and fashion. And then once you figure it out, then they come in and try to buy it from you. That's why it's valuable, okay? But talking about your own community while lifting others up as if they have no problems is what makes no sense, because they're never going to give you anything, and you still have less than what you had before by trying to make those truths, and they're still going to alienate you at the end of the day, which in my honest opinion means you are a legitimate crash out. And that is what Myron is, a legitimate crash out. If you're going to go ahead and talk down on FBA and wish all these hateful things, I mean, not only are you risking your own security and your own health by saying
crazy, because O'Shea does the same thing.
Things like this, you absolutely get nothing from it, okay? You're not going to get a check. You're not going to get more followers. You're going to alienate more people. And the fact that you have to continue to do this is even bogus, and it's even crazy. But hey, what do I know? So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.
That's crazy. That's fucking wild. Hold on, when the hell did YouTube start doing this? Hold on, y'all. What the hell? What the helly? Okay, my YouTube is acting weird. Okay, on my phone. All right, well, hey. It is what it is today, I guess. All right, let's go over to Myron's page. Let's see what Myron got cooking up. He's making a lot of sense these days. Now, I hate to say it, he's spinning the block on the black community. So, whoever gonna follow him from the black community, they're gonna follow him based off of a lot of the stuff that he's saying right now. Because honestly, a lot of black people will agree. Because some of these niggas gonna be like, well, you can't say he not lying. Also, too, on top of that, black people can easily be exploited. Wanna know why? You see through the eyes of the dominant society too. You see through the eyes of the quote unquote oppressor also. That could be exploited. A lot of y'all look at Negroes the same exact way. Not even low key, high key. I was watching this black guy. I'm sad that I said it like that. I was watching this YN with a grill on at a gun range shooting a ARP. You know, an AR pistol. And I was like, dang, that's cool. He was shooting, actually, no, he was shooting a Drake. No, he was shooting an ARP, and it had the monkey nuts. It had like the Patriot drum, you know, and another cat was shooting like a gold-plated Draco, and the wooden part fell off. And I'm watching these kids shoot these guns, and I'm looking at it like this. I'm like, dang. Funny part is that the likelihood is that they're going to use those guns to a certain degree. Whether it's doing something or protecting themselves, right? You know? Because some people, they just don't shoot back because the person that's robbing them or doing something, they just know, okay, this nigga, clearly this nigga knows how to handle a gun. Or at least that gun. You know? Sadly, I was looking at it, I'm like, dang, I'm watching brothers, aim these weapons and shoot. And I'm like, shit, most likely they're gonna aim most likely they're gonna have to, or they will aim it at another man. You know what I'm saying? They're just gonna aim it at another black man for the most part. Truth be told. It's not like no Black Panthers. Even then, shit, the Black Panthers and the growth and development cats gonna aim their guns at other black people. You know? I just didn't even want to watch it. Cause I'm like, man, these kids are gonna kill other black kids, honestly, or for the most part. It's not like military training or nothing like that. Anyway, like I said, our crimes amongst each other are big, just like anybody else. But it gets put on Front Street. But I'm not gonna lie. How we gunning each other's down and doing certain things, it's very brutal. Told you niggas to stay in the house this summer. You know? Told you guys a lot of things, like double tap the screen, hit the like button, and support the show. You can support the show via Cash App, that's dollar symbol PTV, 888, that's dollar symbol PTV, 888, that's dollar sign PTV, 888. Also, you can support via PayPal or straight donation. If you don't have PayPal and you have a debit card, you can support the show, or Apple Pay. You can support the show via the coffee store, where I'm gonna have exclusive videos out over there. I found the third destination. When I cut off YouTube, I'm gonna just have it recording, and exclusive video is gonna be over at the coffee shop. So if you can head over to coffee, and you can support the show that way, it's more secure. Also too, I don't know why my Rumble is not up right now. I was thinking about going down and coming back up. Maybe that's what I might do. or we might just strictly take the show over to Rumble. You know, because if you're on the Rumble, y'all can't see if I'm live right now, and I'm not gonna lie, I appreciate you guys over at Rumble. You know, couple hundred views, man. You know, thousands of views per week. That sounds good. You know, I just don't be seeing y'all text that much in the chat. I can't see y'all text with this system, so I might have to alternate. So if you guys are on Rumble too, or you guys are over here from Rumble, because I posted the link here, please hit the like button also and support the show. Hardest working man on YouTube. Okay. So these topics are gonna get a little bit deep, you know. Obviously, I'm not gonna provide super context to everything that I'm saying, but um, you know, certain things are up for debate. I'm not gonna exclude or really sway one way or another, but it is what it is. And we need one or two more donations, y'all. If you guys can support the show, show some love. Let's open up the phone lines. I would like to get y'all thoughts on some of this stuff. If you guys want to chime in on what you hear Myron says, if you guys want to have a little bit of the conversation, let's get that started. Y'all know what to do. Um, Today's show goal, as always, is 50 to 70. Um, these topics aren't always the best topics. I really don't care for it. Because half the time you're going to be talking to people that haven't done their history. So these are like no homo, jerk off topics to me. But I think Myron's a smart guy, which a lot of black people are going to think he's a smart guy. But he just doesn't know. He just doesn't know. I think it's just best to appeal to the suburb as both black and white content creators in the space and just go about your way. You can say Rolo Tomasi has done it. You'll be surprised a lot of black brothers know about Coach Corey Wayne. A lot of black brothers, and he wrote a book for black brothers, surprisingly know about Aaron Clary. There's a lot of guys. How far are you trying to take this, But hey, it is what it is.
The black community is a fucking matriarchy, which is why it's failed for decades upon decades upon decades. During the Jim Crow era, when segregation was at its highest, the black community did the best. Why? Because the family stuck together, they were trying to make their own businesses, they were having their own communities. They stuck together. The family unit kept things going despite the fact that they had the most persecution, the most rape.
And see, that's cap. That's cap. And shit, during that era, anything black people do could have looked somewhat good or decent compared to how they were being treated and where they came from. And let me tell y'all something, the black community be doing good in spurts. But you're never going to really hear about that on the news. I'm going to tell you, if you outside or you in the streets or you're around production and productivity, quote unquote, in the black community, you will be able to see that they're doing good and everything is going great and going well. But it's not going to reflect on the news. As a matter of fact, when black people actually are doing well, they manufacture something or they say you're not doing well. They say, oh, I don't know. They manufacture crime. When the crime is low in the black community, there's been a lot of instances where they manufacture crime. They set up stuff to happen in certain spots and stuff. So best believe that cop found on his backside in that bathroom doing a full split. Crimes get way deeper than that. You know, let's go.
Racism, the most segregation, the most animosity against them, but they did better back than they did now. You want to know why? Because it was a patriarchy. So when it comes to criticisms of me, right, and the situation where people say I have a lot of white supremacist talking points, right, or I have white nationalist talking points, whatever the fuck, people say this stupid shit. The thing is, they don't really care about what I'm saying, chat. They dislike that it's me saying it. I'm gonna say that again for you guys. They don't really give a shit about what I'm saying. They have a bigger problem with me saying it because of what I look like and who I am. So instead of attacking my argument, like where I say, yo, black culture has some serious problems. They promote degeneracy. They promote using drugs. They promote selling drugs. They promote being in gangs. They promote killing each other. They promote, having kids out of wedlock. They don't promote the family. The father isn't around. They promote using welfare. All this shit. Right? When I talk about this stuff, they look at me and instead of saying, you know what, Myron, you're right about this, you know what they say? You're a tether, nigga. You're a tether. You can't tell me about my community. You're a tether. And this is why no one wants to talk to the black community. Because they focus more on who is saying the information versus the information. You know who else does that shit? Women. Women also do that shit. They care more about who is saying the information or how the information is said than the content of the information. You guys want to know why the black community behaves like this? Because it's run by women. That's another ugly ass fucking truth. The black community is a fucking matriarchy, which is why it's failed for decades upon decades upon decades. Since the civil rights era and the destruction of the nuclear family, okay? Because it's interesting how during the Jim Crow era, when segregation was at its highest, the black community did the best. Why? Because the family stuck together. They were trying to make their own businesses. They were having their own communities. They stuck together, okay? The family unit kept things going despite the fact that they had the most persecution, the most racism, the most segregation, the most animosity against them, but they did better back then than they did now. You want to know why? Because it was a patriarchy. That is why. But as always, when you put women in leadership roles, what do? They fuck everything up. And the reason why the black community has the problems that it has is because it's a fucking matriarchy. You got a bunch of emotional ass men with no fathers, with no real male role models, behaving like women. Then he could talk shit. I'm gonna go after him. And then he kills somebody. That person says, he killed my homie. Fuck that nigga. Then he goes and kills him, and it's an endless fucking cycle. Next thing you know, Bloods and Crips, lifelong beef. They're still fucking retaliating years later. King Von and his people, out of Chicago, killing each other over a decade, chat. Dirk just went to jail for it. Okay? So, the problem here is that it's a matriarchy. It's one of the problems. There's many problems. By the way, FYI, let me be very clear. This is a multifaceted, complex problem as to why niggas are fucking up. I'm simplifying it for y'all, but there's a bunch of reasons why niggas are fucking up. All right? But the one that a lot of people don't talk about often is because the black community is by in itself a fucking matriarchy. We care too much about what black women gotta say. Fuck it. You have ratchet ass, fat, rude, rambunctious, crass women raising little boys. And a woman, no matter what they say, cannot teach a boy to become a man. I'm going to say that again. A woman cannot teach a boy how to become a man. All she's going to teach him how to be is a fucking feminine man who's emotionally erratic, violent, not able to control their emotions, and that, for a man, is destructive. Because
we acting like black men haven't said this for years. Okay.
Here's the thing with women. When women beat the shit out of each other, it doesn't really matter. Not because I'm saying violence against women is okay. No, what I'm saying is that they don't have a proper grasp of violence. They can't really injure each other that bad. Does that make sense? When's the last time you heard of a woman beating the shit out of another woman and killing her with her fists? Never happens. Right? This is why lesbians beat each other up and get together after. They didn't really beat each other up that bad. Some scrapes, some cuts, but it's not real violence. Okay? It really isn't. Women are weak. They are.
I don't know why dudes beat the... Jesus Christ. I don't know why dudes be thinking that that women are weak. Man, bitches will claw the fuck out of you. I mean, let me tell y'all something. Most people ain't worried about no cat biting them and shit like that. No. A cat will scratch the fuck out of you. He don't have to bite you. Y'all be thinking women just be trying to punch them. Women don't even be punching and shit. A bitch will claw the fuck out of you. They don't have to punch you. They'll claw you. You're gonna be leaking. I don't know why y'all just think it's punches. No, they will claw you. You're gonna wish he punched you.
They're physically inferior. This is biology. So when they beat each other up, it's not that serious, okay? And the reason why lesbians have the highest rates of domestic violence is because women don't have a proper concept of violence, okay? Stick with me here. Women don't have a proper concept of violence. They don't understand that violence or fighting someone can lead to death. They just think, I'm gonna fuck that bitch up. Pull her hair a little bit, mess up her makeup, whatever. Right? Men, however, much fucking different. With us, if you get into a physical confrontation, we know that you might die. Because we know that we are capable of real violence and the other guy's also capable of said violence. Okay? Every revolution's been fought by men for a fucking reason. Not by women. Because women don't understand lethality for real. Now, why is this important? Because remember that woman that doesn't have a proper concept of violence? Her dumbass behaves erratic. Her dumbass can't control her emotions. Her dumbass acts like a moron in front of her son. He grows up seeing that, thinks, oh, well, I could behave like this too. If someone speaks poorly about me, I'm going to do what my mom used to do. Fuck that bitch up. Now I'm going to fuck that nigga up. Ooh. Well, here's the problem with that one. When you go to fuck that nigga up, you're going to have to probably kill him. Because what's going to happen is, you're going to fuck his ass up. He's going to come back with his boys. They're going to jump you. Then you're going to go get your boys. You're going to jump them.
Bro, almost every race does this. Almost every race does this. Especially if y'all, ironically, listen to hip-hop. Almost every race does this, y'all.
And then next thing you know, it's going to be a shootout. It doesn't even get that far anymore. It used to be, let's shoot the ones. That's done now.
It's not exclusive to black people. You fight somebody at the club, you might get jumped. This is not exclusive to black people, man.
Now it's we just shoot you when we find you. Why do you guys think with the explosion of drill hip hop and what's going on, all these young guys are dying? Literally, teenage boys dying. Why? Because they were raised by women that can't control their emotions. But the problem is that when women get into violence or women do shit, people don't die because they're fucking inferior physically. But when men get into violent conflicts, people die because men are actually capable of real fucking violence. So what you have are women that don't deal with real consequences of violence, teaching boys.
Man, alright. Because I had a video I wanted to show you guys earlier. Y'all can go look it up on Mother's Day. You know how much fights and shit broke out on Mother's Day? I done see about like 6-7 fights that broke out on Mother's Day. 6, 7 fights that broke out on Mother's Day. And guess what? Guess what? I saw one of them where the person drove the car and ran it, tried to run the bitch over and ran it into the damn store. I think it was like a Walmart or something like that, some type of big chain grocery store, literally on Mother's Day. Those cases that I told y'all about the guy from O Block and all that other shit. These are stuff that happened on Mother's Day. Dudes are getting gunned down on Mother's Day. Like that's the thanks that the mothers get. They lose their kid on Mother's Day. Fucked up. When I'm saying bitches are pulling out knives, brass knuckles, dildos, all kinds of shit in fights and cars and all kinds of stuff. I'll even tell you as a grown ass man, keep your strap, even if you gotta fight another woman, cause you will know that she probably not there with nobody. She's starting shit with you, and some simp will be enabled or something like that, and you don't even know if that simp is pistol packing either. You know. And then sometimes when you got that button on you, you know, when you got that activator on you and shit like that, it'll defuse the situation. You know? So don't keep no pistol on you to escalate a situation. You want to defuse the situation.
That it's okay to behave like them, but they do deal with the real consequences of violence. And that, my friends, is the biggest fucking glaring problem in the black community when it comes to black on black fucking violence. You have a matriarchy of women raising little boys, letting them think that violence ain't that serious, but it really is. Because men and women live different fucking lives. That's why you have the father there to say, no, you are not going to pick up that gun and go shoot him. No, you are not going to go ahead and get into that fist fight. Or if you do, it's going to be a one-on-one and we're going to sanction this shit. Because men understand violence. Women don't. This is very fucking important for people to understand. Because when you have stupid-ass females raising little boys that don't understand violence properly, those boys think that they could do what women do and they can't. When men commit violence, we serve 60% more time. We get put on death row. We actually deal with consequences for doing stupid shit. Women don't. So your mom, that's acting like a dumbass, who raised you without a daddy, by the way.
Good to see you, man. Shout outs to Raven Knight in the building. Listen, y'all. Y'all hit the like button, double tap the screen on the way in. 3 hours and 24 minutes into the madness is Player Talk Radio. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Please support the show. Dropping some good game as we go. Y'all hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal. Raven said these hoes hope these check babies end up unalive to collect something off of it. That's why they put them out in the streets. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, if you know your son is in the streets, or your grandson, you better off taking out an insurance policy and just paying on it. That's probably an easy way to get rich. I hate to say it like that. Hell, if the record labels are doing it, I hate to say it. How comes the record labels doing it and the family can't? But anyway, yeah, you're right about that. I was looking at this picture and it was showing that Biggie's grandma is 102 years old in Jamaica. And she outlived her daughter and she outlived her grandson. Crazy work. Crazy work. You know? This Mana Duke story with in Chicago. Um, that baby mama, man, a double widow. How the fuck does that happen? A damn double widow. A lot of odd shit in Chicago, you know. But yeah, I mean, you might as well just go to work and just make sure that insurance is paid because that's honestly that's probably your ticket out the hood. Uh, Courtesy of somebody that won't leave the hood or got to get unsubscribed from life to leave the hood. You know. Let's get it.
She's now subject to the same dire consequences when you do the same shit. And this is the sad part that no one knows or understands. And the boy, who will eventually become a teenager and a man, won't learn this until it's too fucking late. So when these stupid ass niggas want to come in here and tell me, Myron, we don't give a fuck about what you got to say because you're a tether, you're Sudanese, you're an Arab, you're not one of us. I say good. I don't want to be y'all niggas. I'm just telling you what I see and what everyone else sees. I just have the balls to tell you that you're fucking stupid. And you're run by women, which is why you're stupid. But the black community don't want to hear shit from nobody unless your last name is Johnson and your first name is Tyreek. They don't want to hear shit. Nigga, you ain't one of us. Fuck y'all niggas, man. This is why nobody talks to y'all. If I'm be honest. Nobody wants to talk to these niggas, bro. Insufferable. No criticism. Everything is met with, you're racist, you're bigoted, you're a white supremacist. I can see why nobody fucking tries to help the black community. These dumbass niggas, well, we gotta help ourselves. Really? Really? You got a stupid ass Greek Nick Sheed telling you that white supremacy. And then I tell him, really? Let's talk about them boys. Nah, man, I ain't about to crash out. I showed you guys a clip yesterday. Right? Dr. Umar Johnson, fucking terrified. Because he knows. I got the truth on my side, bro. These niggas just want to blame everybody else for their problems, and we're sick of it. We're really sick of it. Everyone's sick of it. I'm the only one that's telling you guys to your faces we're sick of it. But whatever. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. We're just going to keep laughing at you niggas, bro. Real talk.
All right, hold on, y'all. They going in on that stat. What are y'all thoughts on that statue too that they built? Hold on. Let me see. I headed over to Fresh and Fit's channel. What was the other one? Actually, actually. Yeah, let's check this one out real quick. Give me 1 second.
I think this Shiloh, Hendricks, and Metcalf situation is a microcosm of a much bigger problem. For decades, we've had black people literally running around with black supremacy, committing crimes, not getting accountability for their actions, and then they blame the system for it. The reality is this. Black people have been able to get away with a ridiculous amount of privilege in America for a very long time. They're able to be racist with impunity. They're able to call white people crackers without being challenged back. For literally the better part of almost 2 decades since the Obama era, we've had to have BLM and liberalism shoved down our throats, and quite frankly, we're all tired of it.
Let me bring in Myron Gaines, because you've been smirking and laughing. What's funny about any of this?
Well, I mean, I find it interesting that you guys want to virtue signal and, wag the finger and say she's a racist and everything else like this.
And the funny part with this Piers Morgan shit is like old racism meets new age racism. That's the funny part.
She admitted she's a racist.
Well, let me
I'm not wagging a finger at anybody.
She self-identified as a racist.
But Myron, with respect, Myron, I don't need to wag a finger when somebody says, yeah, I'm racist. I use the N-word against black people. I don't care. That's
Myron's like, but I'm on your side. Don't tell me not to wag my finger.
a racist. I'm not wagging any finger. I'm not accusing anybody. She is admitting it proudly.
Yeah, I don't think that's what I was just saying. I don't think Myron was really around during the 9/11 days, bro. He would be humming a slightly different tune. But this is interesting. Let's go.
Even
Here's the
you
thing.
can't defend that, surely.
Everybody is racist to some degree. The reality is it depends on, a lot of people want to be politically correct. A lot of people want to sit there and say, I'm not racist at all. We all have biases. We all have stereotypes. We all make jokes. We all are racist to some degree. Now, how racist you are is a whole other situation, but everyone is racist. That's number one.
And it's funny, look at the sisters here. Hey, Raven. You know, these are the shorties here. They like, I think Lil Wayne just kicked his out. These are the type. This is the type of snow that brothers go for. You know what I'm saying? How you got two white women on Piers Morgan's show, and he's interviewing them about racism. Very interesting. Very interesting. Right? When Piers Morgan is the one that's actually racist. If we're gonna keep it 100. So he's kind of been playing this puppeteer thing for a good minute. And weirdly enough, the smartest person to actually get him, right? And get him off of the pivot was Kanye. Weirdly enough, y'all. Pay attention.
Next thing I want to say, see, I think this Shiloh, Hendricks, and Metcalf situation is a microcosm of a much bigger problem. And that bigger problem is what I call systemic organization. And what I mean by...
And you know what's funny? In America, which is kind of taboo, but it's not, but it is, but it's not, but it is, but it's not, but it is that even if you're racist in America, that doesn't mean you're free. Pay attention. If you pay attention to the commentary I gave y'all on the Kanye West show, that doesn't mean you're free. You know, a lot of people say, oh, Alex Jones is racist. Yeah, but he's not free. A lot of people that are quote-unquote racist doesn't make you free. But if you listen to a lot of black people, they will try to pretend like that's the case. It's like, okay, nigga, you probably still believe in the tooth fairy too, huh? You know. But anyway, let's keep it going.
This is, for decades, we've had black people literally running around with black supremacy, committing crimes, not getting accountability for their actions, and then they blame the system for it. For example, George Floyd, criminal. Ferguson, criminals. Freddie Gray, criminal. A lot of these people are criminals, and what ends up happening is they challenge the police officer, they get into a physical altercation, things go left, they die, something happens, use of force is utilized, and then they want to cry about the result, when in reality, it's not the police killing black people, it's black people killing black people. And if you want to talk about black on white violence, black people kill white people 2 times as much. And on top of that, most of the shootings in America, a lot of the times, are white cops killing other unarmed white men. So this whole systemic racism or police brutality or, oh, it's all so messed up. The reality is this. Black people have been able to get away with a ridiculous amount of privilege in America for a very long time. They're able to be racist with impunity. They're able to call white people crackers without being challenged back. And quite frankly, white America's had enough of it, and the chickens have come to roost. Now, look, am I saying that's awesome? Am I saying that's great? No, but for literally the better part of almost 2 decades since the Obama era, we've had to have BLM and liberalism shoved down our throats, and quite frankly, we're all tired of it.
Right, but just to be clear, you would have no problem with one member of this panel openly saying she uses the N-word at black people with impunity and is proud of being a racist. You have no problem with that?
My worldview on the protection of the First Amendment and freedom of speech overrides my personal feelings. She has the right to say
That's fine.
it.
You can support the First Amendment, but you can also have a personal view about what she said.
My feelings are irrelevant. The Constitution is the Constitution. That's what matters.
Oh, that's fascinating. Hold on. So when it comes to chastising black Americans about their behavior, about calling white people crackers, as you say, about their moral claims about the racist system, you can levy a judgment against black Americans for all the things they do. But when it comes to this woman saying the N-word, and this other woman endorsing it and saying that she herself uses the N-word.
See, this is gonna make Myron look like a super genius, because it's always gonna be like a Poindexter emotional black guy that be jumping in these conversations, and it's like on the internet it's different. You know what I'm saying? The person that appears cool, calm, and collected, no matter how right you are, let's just say he right, you win anyway, because he's just cool, calm, and collected, and the one that crashes out anyway.
Now all of a sudden we can only talk about the Constitution and the legal right. We can't offer any moral judgment against it. That's disingenuous, and it's as the only Black American up here, that's quite frustrating to hear.
Here's the thing. If you want to be soft and get offended by that, that's your fucking problem, not mine.
Let me ask Ricky.
We're not even.
Let me ask Ricky. Ricky,
this isn't about being soft any more than when you were desperately saving these white people.
Hold on. This sensitive nature that you have is precisely why we have this problem.
It's not about being sensitive. It's about I didn't articulate. Hold on. Let me finish, Myron. Let me speak and then I'll let you respond. Myron, sure. I didn't articulate any sensitivity here. What I said, in the same way that you levied a judgment against Black people, I'm levying one against the claims you're making. I'm no more sensitive than you were when you made your claim. I'm simply saying I disagree with you. And to immediately jump to you're being sensitive is just a distraction. I'm making an argument here. Just respond to my argument.
No, and my argument to respond to that is this. Political correctness, liberalism, and making sure that we are politically correct and don't use certain words could offend people is precisely why we're in the situation that we're in. For decades, we've had to literally tiptoe around saying certain things around certain people, while the other group of people has been able to have impunity and be able to be as racist as they want to be, as violent as they want to be, without any type of consequence. And if you call it out, you're labeled a racist. The reality is this. Black people don't want to live around Black people. I don't want to live around a bunch of Black people. I move to neighborhoods where it's majority white because I know I'm safe. Now, this is uncomfortable reality that no one wants to say, so I'll say it for them. Black people commit a lot of crimes. A majority of the violent crime committed in the United States.
You think you're safe, but yeah.
It's committed by a small percentage of people, and they tend to be Black men. Look, the reality is the reality. People don't want to say it, but the political correctness and being nice and not wanting to tell the truth is precisely this problem. And the reason why you're seeing all the support for Metcalf and Shiloh, etc., is because white people have not been able to step up and say what they want to say for a very long time because of what I said before, systemic, organized, where they don't take accountability for their decisions.
Let me bring in Ricky to respond. Ricky.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say that I agree that virtue signaling went too far, that political correctness went too far, but we're going from virtue signaling being the norm and being praised to now vice signaling being the norm and being praised. It's not just a matter of does this woman have the right to use that word? I believe that she has the right. I disagree with it. But is she now being rewarded with $500,000? Why are we rewarding people for performing vice instead of virtue? This is not healthy. This is destructive to our society. This is destructive to our social fabric, to our culture, to our ability to live with other fellow Americans. It's gross to reward someone for.
I mean, that's what I'm like. Raven said, "Don't associate me with those white bitches." This is the thing, though. I mean, what's the point of her using that word 24/7 or overtly and stuff like that? Why you gotta use the word nigga every day? Are you going to Chief Keef concerts every day? Do you go to Coachella? Like, let me stop playing. But why you gotta use that word every day? What's the occasion? Is that what you date? Anyway.
Her bad behavior. It's one thing to tolerate it, to say that she has the right to do it, but she called an autistic 5-year-old the N-word. Like, I'm sorry, but I feel like we're kind of like missing the point in the actual context. You can say that it's part of this bigger meta.
People are using it as a filler word. Shout outs to Unfriendly Stoic. Kanye used it as a filler word for that song. And that's why I'm like, oh, that's kind of genius. Because if you just sprinkle in pepper in a couple of nigga here, nigga there, not just niggas, but people gonna fall for it. Saying the N-word will sell more on a suburb track. Not a suburb track. What am I saying? Saying the N-word suburban people will resonate with it the way, even in a lot of cases, the artists of certain songs would have wanted black people to resonate with it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more catchy to people that it kind of doesn't resonate with, and it kind of resonates with them because they get it and they feel it. You know, it's like what Paul Mooney says. Everybody want to be a nigga, but don't nobody want to be a nigga. It's like you get the benefit or you get it, but when it's time to be one, you're not one. You know, the other side of that. And anyway, what I'm saying is that finito is not slowing down anytime soon. You know, and I'm not saying it's getting resurrected because of that 100 niggas versus the fucking gorilla conversation shit. What I'm saying is, you know, Coachella and festivals and stuff that's going on right now. Like I said, if you notice in hip hop, there's no summer anthem. We'll see. You got your Drakes, you got your Weekends, you know, so it's not even just hip hop. R&B too. You know, with these artists. So what I'm saying is that, you know, that word is everywhere. Black people go to some of these functions, don't get me wrong, but let's be serious. Other than Beyonce or some shit like that, niggas ain't about to buy no damn ticket to stand next to Little Baby and shit. Niggas ain't about to buy no goddamn ticket to stand next to Little Baby. And for the most part, if black people are there, it's like black women going to these shows to go have fun. Black men will probably go to a Playboy Cardi show or a Trippie Red or XX, you know, recipes or you know, those type of shows. Black dudes do pay for that. But let's keep it 100. Those black kids that go to those shows, they're from the suburbs. You see where I'm getting at? So the suburbs get to enjoy that music, not the trenches, honestly. And then every trench that you know has its own brand of music because they got rappers out there that's not discovered, but they're people in their little couple blocks radius. And while other people are just listening to the mainstream stuff or maybe other genres, you know, they're most likely running up the streams and the numbers on the mainstream shit. You know. Alright, y'all hit the like button, support the show. Damn. Y'all not enjoying the show? 3 hours and 44 minutes into the madness. Alright. Now, why am I saying this? What I'm saying is that, you know, there's a whole another subcategory, subgroup of people that enjoys these words, you know. So don't be surprised. Fresh and Fit has made an impact on suburb America. You know, that's something like I kind of get what Myron's doing, but you don't have to do it. You know, because even the young ones, not even the old school, you know, guys like Piers Morgan that would agree with you, they don't trust you. Because if you're not us, you're them.
a story of black and white America, but it actually is just like a short little clip, and you don't even know the context of it, and it's actually gross. And if we can't just say that it's gross and bad, then I don't really know where we are.
Well, I think it's interesting to me that Lily Gaddis, you retweeted Nick Fuentes, the white supremacist. He said black people just raised $500,000 for a cold-blooded killer who stabbed a white teenager to death. So I don't want to hear one word about the Shiloh Hendricks fundraiser. Either everyone gets to be tribal or nobody does. Why would you retweet that?
Because I agree with it. Because we have to fight fire with fire. I mean, at some point, why are
nobody does?
Why are people allowed to be tribal? Why are black people allowed to be tribal? But as soon as white people stand up for themselves, we're labeled a racist. And by the way, you call people racist when you want them to stop talking about things.
No, I called you a racist because you admitted you were racist.
And that's why I said this is diabolical work. A racist man calling somebody racist. It's like whoever gets to the first. It's a race, right? Pun intended. Whoever gets to the insult first wins.
Hang on. I called, just to be clear, I called you a racist because you openly, proudly admitted you're a racist. So it wasn't a question of exposing you or pointing my finger or trying to
he got you there, bitch.
Get this out of you. You proudly sat there, bold as brass, and said, yeah.
And I want y'all to pay attention how slick covert racism is with Piers Morgan.
Yeah, I use the N-word all the time against black people. I'm a racist and I'm proud of it. That's what you did.
Racism is just having a preference. I prefer not to live around black people. I prefer not to live in a...
Racism is not just having a preference. Man, these zillennial females are a piece of work, y'all. Pick up the racism, but leave your brain at home, guys.
Country where white people in our country are disproportionately attacked by black people. Where in my country, you can have an Austin Metcalf where he asks a guy to leave and he gets stabbed in the heart. I prefer that. That's a preference. Now, what a real racist is, in my opinion, is seeing someone as less human. I'm a Christian. I believe everyone's created in God's image. So I don't see anyone as less human. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have a preference and say, I don't like what happens to be coming out of this community or that community. How is that a bad thing? How is that not just a preference?
Because you've literally made black people sound lesser humans. You don't want to live around them. You want to use the N-word in relation to them, a word that you know causes that community unbelievable offense.
Is that my fault? If they have bad behavior, if they want to act in a certain way, if I have to cross the street and be afraid that maybe because of the crime statistics that are very real, by the way, is that my fault or is that their fault for having bad behavior?
That's mind-boggling to me for multiple reasons. I mean, we're talking about bad behavior. You know, we've never lynched you, we've never enslaved you, we've never done any of the deep-seated structural forms of injustice to white people that white people have done to black people, and yet to claim some kind of moral superiority in the midst of, and again, in the context of a conversation where a white woman is calling a 5-year-old autistic child the N-word, and we're talking about black people's bad behavior. This is absurd. And the idea of fighting.
But see, the thing is, though, where's that group of people that be feeling some type of way when you call an autistic child anything, aside from the race people? Where they at? They be louder than the whole race thing. She not getting canceled or ran off the internet? Interesting. Where the hell is Tommy Lauren? Y'all remember her?
Fighting fire with fire, again, is a dishonest argument. Just to take us back to the point here, the people who are supporting Carmelo Anthony's campaign believe that he was wrongfully charged and they're trying to get him legal defense. The people who are defending this woman are saying, yes, we know you called the 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word, and we want more of it. We approve of it. We support it. These are not the same thing. And it's bonkers to me that we couldn't all stand and say, hey, it is wrong to call a 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word. I mean, Myron, let me just ask you that question. I think this is a yes or no question. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think the woman was wrong to do what she did to that child in that park?
I don't approve of that. But what I will say is that it's very important to understand.
What video are they talking about? Does somebody have the video? What video are they talking about?
Entire context of what led us to this position, because again, Metcalf and Hendricks is a microcosm of a much larger problem. Earlier, we were talking about tribalism when you were mentioning Nick Fuentes' tweet. Here's the thing. Black people could be as tribal as they want to be. You have people like Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Umar Johnson running around about black power and marry black women and keep it in the hood and all this other stuff. But if white people assemble and say, you know what, white power, we need to keep our nation white, they're immediately ostracized and labeled as supremacists, and they get banned off every single platform. I find that interesting. And matter of fact, you went ahead.
Isn't that the same thing?
No, actually, it is the same thing. Because here's the problem with black people.
No, it's not.
Hold on, let me finish this. Black people practice the very racism they cry about. You guys can gather together and say Black Lives Matter, Black Power, but if white people get together and say white power and gather together, they're considered white supremacists and they get banned off every single platform. Why is that Jared Taylor and Nick Fuentes are banned off every platform for practicing white nationalism, but black people are allowed to stand every single platform getting interviews on a Breakfast Club? Explain that to me. There's a two-tier situation here where black people are able to benefit off of being racist while whites are not. And what we're dealing with right now in America is literally a backlash to this black supremacy has been able to run around unchecked for a long time, and no one has the balls to call it out. Here's the other thing I want to say. Everyone's flipping out over Shiloh Hendricks and saying the N-word.
Hey, can I talk to the point you just made, though?
No, hold on. Nobody flipped out like this when the United States was getting destroyed in 2020 because of black protests destroying every liberal city in America. So I don't want to hear it about, she made $100,000 because she said the N-word. Who cares? They destroyed billions of dollars of structure because someone got killed who was a criminal. That's the problem in America. You guys get a privilege that no one else gets to enjoy. You could be racist.
Okay.
And
all right, I have to hang on. I'm going to hold it there. We've got another guest joining us. Mark, I'll come back to you to respond to that in a moment. Okay, let's go back to the panel there. I mean, Ricky, it seemed to me a lot of inconsistencies in Mr. Wells's position, not least the donning of the Christian hat when it suits them, but then removing it when it doesn't.
You know, I think it's definitely tough to make the call here and there and where to censor. I err on the side of not censoring as much as possible, but I agree with you that the selectivity of having issues with abortion but not with these campaigns is certainly a problem. But I also want to go back to our point before, too, and make the point that I hate this argument that because some people were tribal, we should be tribal, too. And shouldn't we want to live in a society where we say tribalism is bad in general and negative in general, and so therefore we should be erring towards individualism and not fighting tribalism with more tribalism? I think that's a net negative.
I agree. Myron, your last words on this.
The thing with tribalism, it's a natural human instinct. Like, we are literally designed to want to be in communities and want to be a part of a set of community because it ensures our survival. It's been that way since the beginning of time. So the thing is that people are typically going to align with people that share similar features, and that's why we have the tribalism we have going on right now. So the problem is, it's not going to go anywhere. I think the problem is that we've had this penting up for literally decades, and this has been a response to it. You have people.
Yeah, but that's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. No damn tribalism and stuff like that. That's not what this is about. This is about saying the word nigga. Let's just keep it 100. It's about saying the word nigga. I mean, I get it. It's a fun word. You know, it's like, yeah, you like that word, huh? You know, it's a fun word. I get it. But that's not what this is about, man. That's not what this is about.
People that are coming out and supporting someone who you guys might deem as a terrible racist, but I think it's also very important to understand how we got here. Because if we're going to look at the smaller problem, we can't look at the bigger problem. And it's what I said before, unchecked, systemic.
All right, Mark Lamont Hill, your last words on this.
This repeated use of the word, I think, first of all, I want to just register that as offensive, particularly as someone who doesn't identify as a member of that community and who is not, right? I think that's incredibly
I'm the definition of African-American. I'm the definition of African-American.
And troublesome, and to as a Sudanese American or an outsider who's using African American in a very technical term, the same way that Elon Musk is an African American, I think it is a bit disingenuous. But the bigger issue here, I think, is that, you know, this idea of equating of one side to the other side often loses track of this issue of power. To use as example, when Black people stand up and say, "Hey, let's build our own stuff. Hey, let's have a Black power movement," that is not the same as a white power. I'll let you speak uninterrupted. Let me finish, please. my Sudanese brother. So when a black person says, hey, let's preserve our culture, I have no problem with Italians or Irish people or anyone else saying, let's preserve our culture. But when we don't talk about ethnicity, but actual race, and when white people say, let's preserve whiteness, it's an exclusionary practice. It's about preserving laws and practices and tactics that do harm to other people. A black power movement was about opening stores and building businesses. A white power movement was a white power. That's the giga. A white power movement was about something very, 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 very different. A white power movement included lynchings and included Ku Klux Klan, etc. So let's not pretend that these are opposite sides of the same coin. When white people say, let's save our country, and even using the language of our country, when black people built this thing, when you say that, you're talking about forcing people out of the country. You're talking about laws that discriminate. You're talking about doing harm to people. Let's not pretend these are the same thing, just like these GoFundMe campaigns are not the same thing. I'm okay if everybody gets out of the GoFundMe industrial complex. I'd love that. But let's not pretend that supporting someone for a fair trial is the same thing as supporting a grown white woman berating and calling the N-word to a 5-year-old autistic black child. And the fact that everyone in here can't be unanimous in condemning that says exactly how they're not the same.
I totally agree. I'm going to go to Lily Gaddis and just ask you one more time. I mean, you've been so unashamedly proud of being a racist today, proud of using the N-word whenever you feel like it. You've had a bit of time to think about this. Is that how you want people to leave this panel debate, with thinking of you as a disgusting racist?
I don't really care what people think about me. As long as you care about what people think about you, you have no power and you lose your country. What I care about is freedom of speech. And if you're not allowed to say the most offensive things in this country, you do not have freedom of speech. I don't care what anybody says. So that's the main crux of this situation. That's what I care about with this situation. It is, we have lived for far too long in a country where you can have your life destroyed. And people say, oh, she doesn't need this money. Her life's destroyed, by the way. She'll never be able to get another job. She's got children to have to support. And I don't want to live in a country where you can say an inappropriate, rude thing, which, by the way, black people can say things to white people all the time and they never get canceled. There's no backlashing about this. I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly. And you will
well, go
not
on then,
have
say
free,
it. Say
you
the
will
M-
not have
Go on,
free
say,
speech.
go on. Say the M-word. Go on.
No.
Hang on.
Invite. No. I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me, because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her for ratings to call me the N-word, because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here, you and one Uncle Tom on the left here, and asking her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say, please use a Jewish slur in front of this Jewish. It's ridiculous. I understand you don't have any bad intent, Pierce. I understand what you're trying to do, but we already know she's a racist, and I don't want to invite a racial harm to me.
I hear you, and I accept that, and we'll leave it there. Thank you all very much.
All right, well, look. We're going to pick this up later. We're going to pick the rest of the show up later. 4 hours is good. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. Let me see. We got to do better on the support. That's horrible. All right. But thank you guys for hitting the like button. Thank you guys for supporting the show. We're gonna do a double hitter. I'll come back. I gotta load up some more content. I got something that just came up. But listen, it's Player Talk Radio. I am your gracious host, DJ Kuda. Please support the show on air, off air. When you listen to this on the replay, yeah, support the show. But we out. It's Kuda. Peace.